going to go the other way next time. That's why I predicted HLE. It had nothing to do with thinking that they were a better team, because what we learned on that day was that anyone or no one could win that series. It was ludicrous. You can go back and watch it if you have a spare, like, 16 hours. It was exceptionally long. Okay. The Jace going to be taken away here, and the Poppy and the Bard going to be removed as well. Carrier's Bard still just a permaban. You just really cannot let him have it. Teams have tested that theory, and they've realized that, no, let's just not do that. I kind of ever. As Cassio is going to be taken away, T1 will probably be banning Orianna if it's not going to leave the Rift right now, especially with Nocturne still looming. See what HLE do want to take away, though, as Vi, Nocturne, Ori seem to be the big three on offer right here.
I think the Orianna will likely be banned by T1. The Nocturne's going to be taken away here first. So
okay.
I think Lee Sin is going to be really high up in priority. We'll see if Painter is ready for the counterpick Skarner. He has played 0 games of Skarner in his career. And I think Kanavi may be looking for a first pick Lee Sin if that Orianna is in fact banned in this final spot. But instead, I kind of have this feeling T1 might trade here and do something a little bit weird as a result. But no, they do ultimately at the last possible second ban that Orianna away.
That's like the biggest demonstration of Zeka's growth that I've seen in a long time. But the Vi obviously going to be picked up here as it is incredibly high priority. We did see just yesterday Vi not necessarily perform all that well. Let's see whether Kanavi can keep that aggression up.
With no Lee Sin, they're going for the Vi first. Do they take the Lucian now away from Guma? Because Guma will play the Lucian. That's the one strong side lane he loves to play.
If they don't pick it now, it will be locked.
And it's a Vi comp, so instead they're going to take the Jhin, which I find to be a pretty unusual choice here. The Jhin works well with Vi, but I mean, it's Lucian, and it's this meta, and it's Pays, so I thought we were going to go a different direction this draft.
That's kind of astonishing to me that they do pick up the Jhin.
Do they want to play a Ryze comp here, or do they want to just simply grab a jungler right now and wait it out? There's something like a Xin could work. Camille still available, so Jhin, Camille.
Oh, so now they can go a Shen lane if they would like to.
They certainly can.
Okay, let's see what Delight wants to do, and there is the Shen.
I mean, yesterday we had such a great example, even though ultimately the game was won by one late-game Camille moment. A showcasing of how to shut Camille down with Shen. As unfortunately, poor Namgung just could not play the game.
Well, he also could not refrain from hard winning the game at the very end. The 0-8 power spike is just too strong. All right, Shen going to be locked in. Let's see what Zeka is going to put away here. It could just be the bottom lane locked in. Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing a Ziggs. And yeah, Gumayusi is so good at this champion. You may as well pick it up. I feel like Jhin is a fairly weak side champion as well. We are going to see Carrier and Delight kind of unlocked from this lane just based on the fact that they're playing these two champions. And this would be a little bit more of an aggressive choice. We've seen the Corki many times and has actually found a bunch of success, even if the win rate does say 48.4%. I've really liked Corki so far.
Yeah, a lot of that's from the earlier rounds, since it is a year-long stat that pops up there. I do think that I personally like Corki more in this meta. I also really love Blind Olaf because we're just not seeing a whole lot of teams be able to figure out how to deal with this champion right now. And it is very, very, it has been very well played by Doran this
He was the one that sort of made it popular, right, here in the LCK.
So I think it just took a loss recently, but that win rate's still up at 75% across quite a few games now.
And even the games where the Olaf loses, I don't think the Olaf loses in those games.
No, certainly
even
not.
she was just kind of 1v5 most of the time.
So there's still always that possibility of the Shen top, but with the Olaf there, I think extremely unlikely. This Shen is designed for a counterpick, or designed as a counterpick for the Camille in lane, and then for roaming power later on, as Guma will try to be self-sufficient down there into the Jhin. So banning away the Yone here, I actually really do like, because it's a lot of big team fight power, and it is Zeka, of course, into the ability to set it up with the Vi and the Shen taunts is very powerful. Because there's that Lee Sin that we were talking about earlier on, going to be banned here in the second phase.
Yeah, and this is actually quite interesting of T1 to kind of leave Painter to the Wolves when it comes to this next round of bans. The Jack's going to be taken away from Zeus, not going to be playing that one into the Olaf this time around. And is it going to be another jungle ban, just really trying to put the pressure onto Painter and get him to dig through that champion pool? I could, of course, be just playing the Olaf, I guess, but I don't think that is going to be the case with Doran on this roster. One more ban to come through. Zinzao, Jarvan, any of these sorts of things could be all right. The Zin is going to be the choice here to be taken away. And with the Vi already locked in, I think not having the Jarvan makes more sense. Also, because the Olaf doesn't like running around rocks.
If Holmes done his research, it has been Painter's worst champion statistically. He's 2-5 on it with an incredible win rate on everyone else in the meta. He just, unfortunately, has taken a lot of losses on Jarvan specifically. And he will avoid it here as well and go for the Pantheon pick. Ryze is still a possibility in this draft if they wanted to go with that. Might be picked away now. We'll see if Zeka wants to instead just play some strong mid-jungle synergy like Ahri here in this draft and just kind of turn this into a complete dive comp. The problem with that, though, is there's an Olaf front line that Ahri is really going to struggle to cut through. Just doesn't have the same damage throughout as a lot of other mid laners, so I think Anivia just put the wall up and keep him away.
Yeah, it's such a good pick into the Olaf. Just create as many things to put in the way as possible.
Oh yeah, what if you just get both?
And exactly, just put him in the lane with the Olaf is the theory. Zeka could be playing the Ryze. We'll see what he does decide to lock in. Zeus is the bird guy in the top lane. He just very much likes playing Anivia. Zeka could kind of play whatever he wants, but he does want a blind pick here into Faker, who has been held the last pick, and there is that Ryze. So this is the beauty of HLE and what they're capable of. Cassio is almost always banned, and then you get to just pick the Anivia, give it to Zeus, and then Ryze has a decent matchup almost no matter what. The Galio will be picked into it here, and I love Olaf Galio for a gargoyle delivery system, not to mention you already have Camille Galio on this roster.
I think that Hanwha Life had a pretty intelligent draft here, and they had to pivot really hard when that Olaf came through, and I think they were able to get some pretty strong picks here. The Anivia is going to be nice in the lane, going to be able to zone the Olaf in team fights, and could potentially even prevent him from joining said team fights. But when I look at these two teams and how they clash in 5v5, I want T1's comp every time. Who are you going to Vi ult here? The Jhin that's a million miles away? I think most of the time you're going to be Vi ulting a Camille that's up at the front line, already setting up the fight for T1, hoping to burst that down. The carries are so difficult to actually get to. It's really just one major carry there in the Jhin, but there's so much front line. You'll never be able to lock down the Olaf. And I think what T1 have put together here is they saw a Vi dive composition, Olaf comes through, and they've set up all of the answers here in this one. Outside of 5v5s, though, I think Kanavi might pick this team apart. They could definitely get a massive lead here. The Corki 2-item spike is going to be really strong. They've got Realm Warp to move around the map. Hanwha Life definitely have a strong draft that they can finesse here.
They certainly can. I think side lanes are going to be a huge deal for Hanwha. Let's see whether they can make it work as we get under the rift here for game number 1 at the Saturday Showdown. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, under the rift for game number 1.
I think it's so fitting that in Painter's debut game, and in a moment of shock to everyone, the observers go to 80 carries on the opening during the fan chants, because I think everybody knows that that is what this series today is likely going to be completely about. They do drop those wards down in that bush as they are going to clash here with no supports. Delight coming over first, as right now Keria is supporting Painter and looking for a potential topside play here.
Yeah, Painter already just getting through Kanavi's jungle here on this top side. No vision available. And he will just kind of clear everything from what we can see. Kanavi already rotating over, though. Got word of what was going on here as Gumayushi just going to push Pays away. They know that the Camille wasn't in the lane as Ignite down from Doran just lights Zeus on fire. Kanavi now in trouble as the hookshot wall dive comes in, but Delight is already roaming up. And Faker just vacating the lane. This is actually huge for HLE with this mid lane control. I think we kind of know that Zeus should have a relative amount of control against Doran, at least for the first few levels. But I was questioning whether Faker was going to be able to push Zeka around in the early levels or not. Yeah. It looks like he is sacrificing that lane in order to try to help this jungle. It's not necessarily working.
Not necessarily. We'll see what Painter is going to be able to do here once he returns to the jungle after this first back, as that's going to be, I think, a lot of what they were trying to do there is slow Kanavi down on the cross. Now, if he can come over here and actually fight for Krugs, could get pretty interesting here. As it looks like Kanavi, aware of this, is just going to drop Krugs entirely. I actually think this is a wise choice. Go return to his side of the jungle and not give Painter the opportunity to challenge there. And that will be what we end up seeing here. Painter had the level 3 advantage had they fought there.
Yeah, hookshot wall dive does come in onto Delight here, who's been lit on fire, gets the shield, but still has to flash. That's a huge deal. Painter now roaming over. Not a lot of vision here for
Good snipe, potentially as well.
Yeah. Let's see. The Shen is able to make it out. But is Gumayusi going to survive? The answer is yes, because Painter has actually prioritized being elsewhere. There's the flash, but the Deadly Flourish still connects here.
We have had
will, though, survive.
Such a shift in playstyle across our LCK teams this week, where in the past, I think they 100% try to force the kill onto Guma, and they don't even track where Kanavi is because they're like, okay, well, he didn't do Krugs. He's probably far enough away. But in this meta now, this week, it's like you just only take the certain play. And I think the certain play is maybe not to dive this one either.
This is actually very cute. You saw both Zeka and Kanavi moving down. Zeka going to be interrupted here by Faker, who is very low himself. But as they were walking down, they sort of realized that dive wasn't actually going to happen. So both of them press back, try and get themselves a little bit of a cheater recall. And T1 do come out on top as far as the exchange of money is concerned. But it is good to see HLE actually protecting the bottom lane. As Painter comes on over, he'll be able to push Kanavi away from his Raptor camp.
I thought with that charge Q, he's going to get all of those instantly, but not quite able to. Gets it with the second Q there. Clears up those little chickens, takes that money. T1 have been very annoying, I would say, in this early game. You know, slowing Kanavi down on the cross jungle there. Coming over, getting the flash out of Guma, getting the flash out of Delight on the initial play. Haven't gotten any lethal damage done in this game, but it has certainly been a lot of small advantages that have stacked up. Faker with that extra pressure in mid grabs a plate as well. And you can see these gold leads are across the board here now for T1 in every lane, including the jungle, where Painter has that small little extra advantage in camps as well from the level 1. Painter and T1's Academy team play the most classic standard League of Legends that you could ever imagine, and I think that that is showing here in this T1 game as well. They're just going to play for small advantages, not take big risks, but know that the draft has a lot of power. Faker, though...
Yeah, oh, that Justice Punch was kind of beautiful here from Faker, looking for the double taunt, only finds one. Zeus might be egged underneath this turret, just barely going to survive. And Doran looks for the axe, but doesn't find it. My God, on sub 10 health, he'll survive.
Two solo laners with these really nice little outplays. And another one right here.
He had 1 HP.
Literally 1 HP, I was told. Oh my God.
Okay, well, there's the flash into the egg, and the Olaf is actually not in turret range, so Zeus will just die. That's first blood, and a massive blunder from the HLE top laner.
He's like, I'll give it to him. It was 1 HP. Okay, that's not supposed to happen. That was a huge blunder, as you say, and that is going to warp the entirety of this early game on the top side of the map. Look at this buy from Doran.
Yeah.
Doesn't have teleport either, but because he gets the kill, just gets to walk back. He's dancing on his way back, I think.
Yeah, that's a teleport back from Zeus, so at least he will get up to the wave. But man, that is not what you want to see. One thing about what Doran has done here is he's taken the Ignite, which is really going to help him in that 1v1, especially early on. But it means he doesn't have Ghost for later on in the game, which... Ragnarok does give you movement speed, things like that. You do have the ability to catch up, but not going to be as deadly as some of the other Olafs that we have seen in these team fights. We see this one more time.
If he doesn't get kills, it doesn't matter. He just flashes on him, and he's out of turret range. Like you said, I think Zeus did not actually calculate for that. I really, like earlier he was playing around that wall and he's like, if he gets under turret aggro and I wall him in while I'm in egg, like he might actually die, or I'm at least going to get most of his health bar. That was cool, but this one was a bridge too far. And if he doesn't get kills or get kill pressure with the Ignite, then I feel like, oh, you 100% wish you went for the Ghost in this game, but because he's able to get first blood, I think he's already feeling pretty happy with the Summoner spell choice for now.
Definitely doing very, very well. Zeus still going to be able to move up, grab some Crystalline Overgrowth. and will be able to grab a plate there as well. So the gold lead will be mitigated somewhat. But in a long lane with no egg and a carrier moving up, this is going to be such a rough time.
Carrier has flash too.
Yeah, thankfully Zeus has flash, as he elected not to use that. Painter is going to come up, and Zeus, I think, is just going to accept his fate and die. A second kill onto the Anivia, and this is not the Zeus that we've been used to seeing on this champion.
Yeah, no, I mean, after what happened in the initial play and he survived, I was like, that's it. Yeah, I know it. Maybe he didn't calculate he was going to live on 1 health, but he was playing with fire there. As Carrier's still here.
Yeah, Wall Dive not going to quite connect onto Zeka, but still going to be putting on a lot of pressure here. Givenchy almost with his flashback available.
Kanavi's coming up topside now, but there is nothing to get till those grubs spawn. Looks like he's just going to do Krugs, and then maybe they'll try to put that focus onto the Krugs, or sorry, not Krugs, Grubs. Post-Krugs.
Yep.
A lot of little things to get there on the top side. Adoran just gets to get a free back here. We'll be able to catch most of this wave, and now Painter is on the top side for a potential Grub contest.
Oh dear, there's the flash in from Carrier. Flash away from Zeus, but Hayes is not even interested in following, just happy that the summoner spell comes in. And Zeus just taking so much damage. Carrier walks up and ignites him just for fun. And now the curtains have been called. Does Zeus manage to get out of the way? And the answer is no for that one, and no for the final one as well. Faker also not going to go for the dive.
They got Zeka's Realm Warp on the play. Now, Grubs do go over to Kanavi on the top side that I was mentioning earlier, but there's a lot of potential value there gained. And the Anivia pushed out a lane again. So this is the second play here with Painter communicating with the team here confidently in his debut game. Comes over, and he's just like, we got him, we got him, we got him.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry for taking the kill. I think that is absolutely fine. Don't worry, Painter.
Pantheon at this early game, I think you're warranted to take it.
Yeah. But Faker is now taking a bit of damage, but he's otherwise just fine here in this mid lane. Slight lead, I guess, for Zeka did crop up for a moment, but otherwise it is all T1. And more plate money going over to Doran. The more this Olaf gets, the more dangerous he is going to be here in this game.
I'm just happy
I don't think he was supposed to have a 10 CS, 10 CS lead at this stage.
No. I'm just happy to see, I mean, as someone who's watching Painter's debut, how vocal he is. Every time he's on camera, he is sharing a lot of information. You can see it on the player cams to the bottom of the screen there. He is chatty, and that's often something we don't see with rookies who get pushed into the limelight right away, as they don't communicate enough, and sometimes that ends up being why they get subbed right back out.
Especially rookies that join the most popular team in the world.
Yeah, and also in one of the biggest rivalries right now in the world. This is a first game in the Legend group, a very important one, as T1 could push to 2 wins ahead of HLE, currently in first place in the standings. If they win this, pretty big one.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. Ona is taking a fair bit of damage here from Zeus, who is still sitting on just his Catalyst. We'll be able to clear out that wave and move on.
Yeah, the Catalyst is great for, you know, sustaining the lane and getting your health back up, but when you get dove and burst, not a whole lot of value. As Zeka will get taunted.
Yeah, but in goes Kanavi. No Justice Punch here for Faker, as the Q is going to miss there, and he tries to get out, and he'll be successful. In goes Painter now, joining the fray, and does have that shield. Doran's rotating over. Faker's coming back as Painter flashes out, but there's the Vault Breaker. Kanavi will be executed, and that was a massive overextension. Delight turns up. He was delivered by the Vi. But HLE now down 3 kills with nothing to show for it.
We put him in the circus on his first game. They just said, you're on the circus now. You were going to ult in when Faker goes for this taunt play. And then Kanavi shows up. But because Kanavi used his CC early, Faker is just able to ult out. And that's the biggest part of all of this, is he's just like, all right, well, there's no more buttons to stop me. I'm out of here. And then Painter comes in and buys time because he's Pantheon. And then Carrier rotates over. But this is, I mean...
This is actually so sick.
It's just...
Yeah, Faker just ults out onto the Pantheon as the Pantheon is ulting in. So they literally just trade places.
Yeah. And then, what's Painter going to do? Buy time. Puts his shield up during this taunt. Flashes away. Kanavi flashes to follow. And then Carrier shows up. Faker gets the knock-up. And Carrier ults. Now, if you watch that play back, the craziest thing is that the second Faker goes in for the taunt play and Kanavi is shown, Keria stops walking bottom and starts walking mid. Like they're thinking that far ahead. He's like, all right, I think this play could be extended. I'm already on my way up. I'm not going to leave Faker hanging. We are going to fight for this. We are going to play for this. Like Keria instantly reacted there. Is able to help clean up there at the end of the fight and almost even takes Zeka with them. Doesn't get his flash or anything like that as there wasn't enough damage fall up there. But still, it's a massive lead here for T1. 3,000 gold in 12 minutes and they're looking for double dragon.
Yeah, this Hex Tech should be taken here by T1. There is vision available, and there's the Realm Warp over as well at C, where the Zeka makes his way in. The taunt from Faker comes down as Delight gets the taunt flash. Faker, though, just going to turn it into an engage of his own, and Kanavi is dead yet again. This time, though, Gumayushi's here in the brawl and takes down his former support. Zeka looking for some names here as Pay's taking a lot of damage, but the curtains are going to be called as a result. Faker gets in there, Gumayushi taking so much damage and will be executed. Painter locks him down. And Faker says good night to his former AD. Out goes Delight, but in goes Doran. And out he goes again. As Zeka is going to look for a bit of damage. Deadly Flourish is indeed deadly, and Delight will be sniped.
This is all of a sudden just starting to be a Harlem Globetrotters game.
It really is.
This is insane. So they focused Kanavi down. As we're not done yet. Keria is going to set up Faker.
Yeah, Zayas in a lot of trouble here. Does get the wall down, but he is still egged. And oh man, to lose your passive in this moment as well is just very disappointing. He'll be taken out. Might have been able to get a teleport off, by the way.
Now. Yeah, might have. But okay, let's go back to this play. So Kanavi initially is the target here for T1 because they want to be able to secure this dragon. It's Painter who makes that call, stuns Kanavi, they burst him down. Now they have to retreat because they put all the buttons on cooldown. Keria gets isolated and killed. And so it's jungle for support. And so HLE want to try to push them back here. This is why Guma plays aggressively, because if Painter's still alive, there's still a chance for the steal, but he just gets punished immediately as he and Faker are just switching positions again. Reminding everyone what Urgot's ult used to do.
Yep.
And then this snipe. He's like, yeah, comes off cooldown. Hey, I'll try for it. And then he's just got him.
Got him. Got him indeed. Keria also going to get Delight as Paze is moving over. Doran trying to get in here. Delight, pretty good shadow dash to get over that wall. And he will be able to keep himself alive. Zayas clearing out waves in this top lane. And 3.6k is the gold lead. It's an Ocean Soul this game as well, which honestly isn't too bad here for T1. I imagine Doran would like to have an Ocean Soul. Feels like a bit of an Olafy soul.
Yeah. How do HLE recover now? I think the game plan has to just be see if you can get one dragon and even sacrifice Kanavi to do it, and then just scale with your.
I think they're going to need some of like you know Michael's secret stuff.
Yeah.
So after game one, they're going to need some of Peanut's secret stuff. In the coach's booth, you know they're going to have that pep talk, and then Michael Jordan will come in and say, "This is Peanut's secret stuff. And you're going to have some of this, and it'll make you strong."
I'm pretty sure Michael Jordan watches the LCK.
I'm pretty sure he does.
Yeah, I
GOAT recognizes
like no
GOAT, right?
Exactly.
Like, that's how it goes.
Exactly. I think he and Faker probably hang out in the offseason.
Yeah. They probably like play chess together or something like that. I assume that's what the greatest of all time do with each other. It's okay. T1 defending here towards his top side. The Baron is nowhere near spawning, but Herald is here.
Yeah, and HLE just don't have any control. I think, again, you've got an Anivi, you've got a Rise. T1 have a 4,000 gold lead, but you can just sit back and clear the waves and try to scale up. I know that team fights are going to be really hard for HLE, as we've described already, and as we've seen in some of these scrappy fights, because you're playing into so much CC, so much frontline for the Jhin, who, by the way, just doesn't miss, as it turns out. So now you just kind of have to hope that you could still do it anyways and hope for a late game. But Kanavi, that's not the kind of guy he is. He doesn't wait. He doesn't scale. He fights.
Certainly not. But now Keria is going to get engaged on here. There's a Realm Warp over. Cease and Desist comes down onto the Camille, who throws out the ulti. Painter gets himself out of there, and the curtain call is so good. Kanavi just gets slammed with an axe. And Doran is not going to be able to flash over that wall because he doesn't have it available, but it will still be Shelly going over to T1, and once again Kanavi in the dirt.
Well, you know, I think we're just gonna have to start talking about game 2 now.
Yeah, I was already there, Wolf. I'm not gonna lie
to you. I wanted to do the thing where we go, well, how could they come back? And there's a lot of wave clear. Just don't force those fights. And Kanavi said, you know what? Look at that player name right next to the HLE in my ID. That's who I am. It's me. You can identify him right here. He's charging right there. He's channeling his Q. He just gets stopped immediately here. Ults the Camille, which is, again, like I said in the draft, like, who are you going to ult in this draft? Well, he was the only reasonable target in this case. And then T1 show up. It's such a quintessential T1 game where it looks like, oh, we got the numbers advantage. You don't. They will be there. They're on their way every time.
And now the gold leads to the tune of about 1,000 for everyone on the top side of the map. It's actually been a relatively quiet game for Pays, honestly, as far as his advantage. As Delight gets that Twilight's Refuge down to at least save some of that health bar. But now the turrets begin to fall. And he was already like a 4,000 gold lead without a turret going down. Now there are 2 dead, so it's a 5.5k lead at 18 minutes in this game. This is a shellacking already.
Not even close. And I think a lot of this game has come down to scrappy fights that HLE took that had thin margins where they just couldn't find the win they were looking for, including that last Herald fight. In their mind, in Kanavi's mind, maybe they were like, okay, maybe we actually get the kill onto Keria, and if we show up, we have the numbers advantage, they trickle in, we win the fight. But that was their same idea on the mid play. When Faker went for that taunt, they failed it there, and the Anivia was always going to be behind in this game. They tried to find fights elsewhere, and it just has not worked, so they just pushed themselves further and further behind. And now it's just pretty simple here for T1. Doran holding the cross angle here with that blast cone. Good deletion there by Zeus to prevent him from getting in the way he wants to. Now maybe he can zone the Olaf.
Yeah, Battle Herald does come down here, but she is just going to walk on forward. There is Doran claiming Shelly. We'll be able to get that charge. Gets a nice little knock up there as well, but my goodness.
The damage from that
Yeah,
poke.
That's just one axe, I guess.
It's the way they pushed away was so desperate.
Oh, Keria in a bit of an awkward spot here. Does sidestep the stun very nicely as Faker looking to make his way back in. Captive Audience comes down, taunt just onto Zeus. Loses half of his health bar. Gumayushi as well looking a little worse for wear. And T1 just look like they're kind of toying with them right now.
And Doran is just like, yeah, you guys keep him busy. I'm going to push this inner turret by myself. And with a massive wave, someone has to respond. Zeus can't take the short way around. He's got to take the long way around. And they're just whittling down this mid turret. The bottom turret loses 2 plates. And HLE just don't have an inch in this game. And the Anivia wall they used onto Doran to try to zone him out so they could maybe look for a big fight in mid is just ignored by the Herald because Doran uses the channel, which gets him over the wall. And they don't end up losing a bloody fight. But T1 get everything they want, but namely that Ocean Soul Point.
Yeah, huge deal here. Faker has done the most damage in the game somehow, but
Doran
it's also
and
under
Faker.
10k. All right, well, there's another taunt to come on through. That damage number is just going to go up, as we see there. Moving towards that 10k mark is now Delight standing on a ward. Needs to be very careful. Does get a control ward down, because it looks like red buff may still belong to HLE. Zeus holding the wave in mid.
Faker's just min-maxing this game. I mean, he knows that they can't punish him, so he just keeps going for these taunt plays.
Yeah, may as well walk up to them.
I mean, there's a world right now where even though it might not look like it because Painter's playing so well, we've seen these crazy snipes. If we were doing POG, it'd definitely be Faker for me right now. He set up so many of the traps into HLE. As here comes Keria on a ward, but this turret is very low.
Yeah, it's kind of scary for Gumayushi to even be here defending. He's very, very close to his transformation on the Mirror Mana. And Keria is going to have that back denied. There's the transformation to come on through. It's pretty strong, especially with the fact that it's Storm Razor Ghostblade here from Pays. Not exactly the most powerful 2-item spike you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, it's...
Zeka does get 2 items himself. Still looking to actualize, but is getting closer.
It's so frustrating when you're the AD carry who really this game hasn't been about at all, even though we kind of set it up like it might be. And yes, he did get caught trying to play a little fancy on that dragon, but he had to kill Painter, otherwise they lose the dragon, or potentially have a 50-50. But he's like, I'm on my 2-item spike, but the game is done. You know, that's the frustrating part.
Oh, Pays gonna have to cleanse here, as they're not even able to kill him, even with that crystallized down. And there is the curtain call. Zeus tanking a bunch of these bullets, but no one really wants to. Now Kanavi comes on over to play some defense, And Faker all the while is just pushing here in this top lane. Carrier moving over as well, just to try and catch anyone.
Faker
trying to rotate up and defend.
So it's very scary to try to keep this turret alive. The second this turret dies, by the way, T1 explode all over the map because there's just no way to defend all of their aggression. It's the one thread that HLE are hanging by right now. And T1 are trying to turn that into a tool where they have this Galio set up with the flanking Camille. Like, if you guys want to defend this turret, you mess it up even a little bit, the game will actually just end. HLE played it well. They played it defensively around it. They don't overextend. They don't have anyone isolated. But they're still hanging on by that wave clear a little bit here in this game. I just don't know if it's ever really going to matter.
This is the thing. They've gone for so many Hail Mary fights so far, and not one of them has even been nearly successful with how well T1 have just been playing it out defensively. And then as soon as they're done, no mistakes, no way in, and they just suffocate Harmon Life Esports so that this gold lead only increases until HLE feel desperate enough to try and go for another skewed fight in favor of T1. It's beautiful to watch, unless you're an HLE fan.
I mean, the style of... Okay, Guma should be able to back away. This turret might actually finally go down here.
Well, Painter is going to go for the stun as he gets underneath this turret. Does get the Aegis out, and that is going to help him there as the Realm Warp does come in from Zeka just to back up the rest of his teammates.
Ocean Soul.
Yeah, off to the side, 20 seconds on that Ocean Soul that you were talking about. Justice Punch will be interrupted as Gumayushi getting a lot of damage onto Faker as in goes to Light, but they look to turn it. Cease and Desist comes in, there's a heroic entrance, and down goes the Corki. They do manage to kill Carrier, but I think he's okay with it. It's Kanavi in the backline will just pop like a balloon. Down goes Zeus as well as the curtains have been called, and never has that ability been named more correctly. As down will go everyone on HLE except for Zeka. And I think T1 will be able to finish this one off here.
Yeah, I think T1 were, for a brief moment, considering if they ever even really needed to get that dragon, but with that Ennard being as healthy as it is, and with this composition, they're not going to be able to end it right here at 23.5 minutes, but we'll go and take this dragon. But this is another showcasing of Faker absorbing so much pressure. Like, he's dangling himself out here as a potential target. Well, watch what happens when Delight goes for the engage. What does the team do? They instantly go to the other side. Why? Because no one can stop Faker from ulting. So he basically reverses this entire fight. And Delight's engage is worthless because the rest of the team is collapsed on, and then Faker joins. He turns an engage onto him. Well, not his team turns an engage onto him into a winning team fight on the other side. And then Faker is the closer, goes in on top. It's just so clean, but he's done it so many times this game on the Galio. Look at this. That's
just
clean,
ridiculous.
That's Thomas looking at this, and he says, we need this every game. This is the perfect game.
He's now got an example for what every game should look like. And he can just see whether he can trace that line over every other one of these games. I mean, the beautiful part is the fact that these gold leads that you're seeing on your screen are everyone else other than the bottom lane. So T1 demonstrating they can play through topside if they want to, if they get the draft that requires it. And they absolutely did this time around.
I will address very briefly the elephant in the room as well. I think the pick that a lot of people have been most critical of on Owner this season has been the Pantheon, and Painter is just, he's exactly where he needs to be every single time in this game, and it doesn't matter anymore because now I feel like you could be wherever you want as T1, and HLE cannot punish, but his engages have been crisp. Look at this one.
Yep, Summoner's Rift is where he's supposed to be, and he nailed it. He's right there right now. In goes Faker looking for the angle. Taunt is decent, but Faker goes golden. Delight just explodes. It's a double for Carrier somehow. No idea how, really, as the Glacial Storm comes over, but it's really not much of a storm, you know. And Carrier, he goes in. He is going to be the punishment onto Zeus. No egg, no chance. And Gumayushi will also be put out of his misery. Zeka, the last man standing once again, still hasn't died this game, but hasn't done much of anything else either. As Doran just throws an axe on his way past, and they look for the Baron.
This week is the shift of the meta back away from Hanwha's style. Gen G playing the slow, controlled Gen G type game, right? Is a big bounce back week. T1 against D+, just playing defensively and then punishing them. And in this game, doing the exact same. And it looks like the style of Kanavi, which pushed the whole LCK into this aggressive, constant team fighting style of play, is kind of falling off in our Legend group right now. I think we're watching it in real time, not in this fight, but in the attempted fights to try to get back into the game here for HLE, falling flat on their face despite having a Rise, despite having an Anivia. And in this game, T1 could do no wrong, and they're just constantly waiting, picking this team apart, punishing them at every turn. When the lead is this big, it's hard to really even criticize HLE in these moments because they're just trying to open their eyes on the map.
Yeah, I mean, like, the criticism is for everything that happened at the beginning, and that was definitely not great, but it also goes all the way back to the draft. And we actually have an interview with Coach Hom saying, like, I'm personally sorry because I didn't do enough work in the draft. I also think that this draft is just kind of crap. I'm not going to lie. And the priority on the buy, I think, needs to go down. I just don't think this champion is that good. And definitely not good enough to be first picked when everything else is up and available. And then run into the Olaf trap that we saw. Because T1, they had right of first selection. And I was wondering why they chose blue side instead of the first pick that everyone's been picking.
I mean,
but I think we know.
There are a lot of champions that you think of like that's the Giga Vi pairing angle, even in the top lane. But neither of these mid champions, or one of them is being played in the top lane, are it, really, in terms of setting up the Vi. But they were dealing with the Olaf. The Olaf pick was such a master class in the draft for T1. And then Doran just pushed it too far and got a solo kill. And then they played through him and took Zeus off the map. And then they Hanwha tried to force mid, and it just fell apart. As here's that Olaf right here.
Yep, Zeka is going to be able to get out. Does have a Seraph shield, so the Realm Warp will not be interrupted, and he won't do enough damage. The Actualizer has been completed, but it's a 15,000 gold lead. Pace.
Pay's just doing a funny thing. He's even got the Comedy Atlas.
There we
He's
go.
got everything.
Oh, nice flash away there from Doran. Kanavi basically just explodes before anything really happens. Zeka does have a fair bit of damage as they try to go through the base gates, but Zeus is just kind of dead. Yeah, Gumayushi's also been taken down here as it's a very split fight. And T1 now have two of their opposition dead. Only Zeka there with damage, really, as they look to break open the front door. And Faker gets the flash taunt. The justice is delivered to the Rise. And the Nexus turrets will now be taken down. T1 with utter domination here in Game 1 against HLE. And we're going to need a lot more from the boys in orange if they are going to stand up to T1 today.
I think that we are really seeing the death of the style of HLE that dominated rounds 1 and 2 and had them at the top of the standings. We know they can play a different way, but they did not in this first game, and they are going to have to change it up in real time right now in games 2 and potentially 3 to get the comeback in this series, because T1 and Gen G have turned the dial back to slow, methodical, classic LCK League of Legends, and the rest of this Legend group is going to have to follow up, because this style right now seems to be the one that is winning, and it is winning super hard.
Oh my goodness, look at that graph. Yes, they gave up some Void Grubs, but did that matter? Not at all, because HLE were never able to hit a turret, almost ever. You can see 0 towers to 9. Yeah, if you were watching the Casper Cup, it was nothing like this. This was exceedingly one-sided. T1 now moved to 1-0 in the series, and if HLE don't change something, change it fast, this could be over real soon. Let's go to a short break. When we get back, the space to break it down in that second game.
나 노공이다.
아, 다시 미드 막았다. 미드 막.
보자.
봐줘 봐줘. 한 보자.
좋아.
맞아, 맞아.
무조건 이겨.
야, 코르키 봤어, 수아나.
나는 못해.
그렇게 나.
노플.
위에 좋아.
애니메.
없이 줘. 나이스.
제대로 가면 이 라인 살리면 끝내면 할 듯. 내가 밀어낼 생각도 할게.
확인.
풀 다 돌았어.
확인. 나 이거
라인만 못 들어가면 될 듯.
맞돌라지.
아래 거부터.
상관없어.
볼 수 있고. 자, 아래 거부터 치자. 라인 안 들어온다.
라인 좀 아래 거 있어.
위에. 나이스.
올리네.
나이스.
T1 were trying to do, he had such a high impact, but it was just such a great game plan from T1 from minute one, and that Olaf pick just destroyed the buy and the whole setup for HLE. So we're going back to the drawing board a little bit here to see how much HLE can pivot within this best of three style-wise here, or maybe they are able to find the similar type of draft, but shut T1 out and prevent them from getting what they want in return.
Well, the Nocturne should be banned away, and then the Orianna if we want the same bans as last game. In fact, we have the same sides of the Rift as last game as well. T1 chose blue side, and then HLE have chose first pick, and so therefore that blue side will go back to T1 once again. The Skarner ban, Wolf, what do you think they want to pick?
I think it's looking like a first pick Lee Sin.
Yeah.
I also mentioned earlier, if you guys weren't there, that Painter has never played Skarner professionally. That's actually not true. I lied. I missed it. He's 3-0 on Skarner. Never mind.
Okay, never mind. He's pretty good at Skarner, I guess. The champion is also pretty well suited to playing into the blind man. Is the Nocturne going to be taken away? That will mean that Orianna will be traded for the Lee Sin.
Gonna be first pick Lee Sin, I think.
No.
I don't know, Atlas. Like,
you do not let Faker have Orianna. This is rule number one of playing into T1. Do not let Faker. Like, if they had made that mistake, then I imagine the trucks are already parked outside of HLE, right?
Well, the good thing is for this Orianna pick for HLE is that they can pick the Jarvan to set it up, right? That's available, even though the Nocturne was banned away.
Yep.
So they will have a good ball carrier here.
Whoa! Okay, Faker.
Okay, this...
Lock it in!
Usually you pick lock leader in the draft. I'm curious to see how T1 will convince us that this is a good idea, but we'll wait. As this means that... Okay, I thought perhaps there was a consideration of something else here. I do think it is almost certainly a Jarvan pick here.
Yeah, I think the Jarvan does make the most Kanavi sense.
Yeah.
Yep. You can definitely go in on that one. That's an Alistair, though.
So the main way to counter lock is to make sure that you have winning lanes. And picking Alistair into it...
That doesn't help. Also, he's got an execute threshold. Having damage reduction doesn't help you with that either.
No, it certainly does not. Jarvan will still come through here, but I do, in fact, wonder what HLE meant by this.
Well, I mean, it is good into Lee Sin. You can kind of boop him out when he tries to boop himself in. That does make some sense.
Yeah, it's kind of like budget Skarner.
Yeah.
Catching the Lee Sin, I suppose.
Exactly. And you don't have the poppy answer either.
You don't hold him, but you can push him into the wall.
Yeah. Convince him ever so slightly to leave is kind of the option there.
Well, I know for certain HLE will not allow T1 to play the Lucian Milio lane. I don't think you get half of it here. Like, I don't think you go Lucian here because you won't get the Milio and you won't have that lane dominance. Gnar, with no Olaf counterpick, gets you topside control, so that feels really good for a lock. I don't know what they're going to play into this now, as we'll probably see some protection bans for this Gnar, like the Vayne.
Yeah, I think Vayne and Ambessa maybe could be banned away.
Those are the ones I expect to see.
Unless you want to ban, like, Vayne and Varus, expecting a Varus pickup. The Vayne is definitely going to be banned, as we mentioned before.
Lucian ban for HLE, 1,000%. They will not let Pays have that pick with this lock.
Lucian Lulu actually feels like a pretty good option.
That's exactly what I had in mind, because any pushing lane is a problem. They already got the Bard away, and could otherwise, if you want to do something different, ban Caitlyn here, I suppose. As Caitlyn into a Alistair lane is going to be pushing, is going to have that power for the lock to roam. Isaiah's given some feedback on this ban, it looks like. It'll be an Ezreal.
Ezreal, okay. So, A Lulu lane is very, very comfortable here for Pays and Carrier.
You can just lock the Lulu now, it feels like, and just likely pick Gunara on 5.
Yep. And Gumayusi will be able to pick accordingly, but instead, the Caitlyn
It's a
consideration.
little bit more Carrier pilled to go for a Caitlyn lane instead of the Lulu setup.
Also just denies Gumayusi. Like, what does he play here? He doesn't have any of his key picks, right? Like, fearlessly banned, we have the Corki and the Jhin, and then the Varus was banned away, as well as the Lucian.
Is he going to just play Misfortune with an Alistair? I don't think so.
I think the Ziggs is almost the only way that you can keep yourself safe here in this lane.
I don't know, man. That Ziggs looks like lock food to me.
Well, I mean, he could be, but then do you play Ziggs Tristana? Maybe that's the answer. Into the Gnar on the top side of the map. Still gives you an 80 carry and gives them some teamfight presence. The Ambassador is the answer, though. That will be the decision made by Zeus.
This is such an incredibly volatile lane here for HLE to try to play through into this lock. We knew the Lux was coming because it's Keria, right? And Caitlyn Lux has always been a combo, but Keria is the Lux player. A lot of other players might even consider a Karma here just to guarantee it's a little bit easier to play, that you're going to have that push, but Keria never. He has popped off on this pick so often. I look at what T1 drafted, and it looked like they had a strong plan from the outset. They already knew, they always knew they were going to put this Gnar into the top lane, and they knew there were enough winning bottom lanes left that even if the Lucian was banned, they'd find a way to get that winning lane so that Faker can roam on the lock. This is old T1 right here. It says Painter right there, right? And Doran is playing on this roster, but this is like classic Guma Keria, Caitlyn pushing lane, Faker roams, they dive again, they get ahead, they win the game. Like, this looks, to me, quintessential exactly what T1 used to play like, even when they were doing double marks from bottom lanes.
Yeah.
With Caitlyn support sometimes from Keria. And Locke is the champion to just press R and collect the money when you have that winning lane, but they also have topside defense to play for, and they have Lee Sin. I feel like this is an even bigger draft gap than Game 1's draft gap.
And if Doran, as he often does, can lane well on this Gnar, get himself to a position where he can team fight, which is his bread and butter on this champion, right? You get a Gnar into a wall, the Lock just feast on absolutely everyone, and it should just be lights out from there. But let's see how it goes. We get into the Rift. All right.
Now,
Hama Life Esports fans sounding desperate, Wolf.
They certainly do. We're on the Hanwha side as well right now. There is one little caveat that we didn't mention in this draft for T1. Is that in order for Faker to get out and roam, he does have to win this lane. And that is a tough lane into the Orianna, and the Orianna can get the control and prevent him from making the impact he wants to. So that's on Zeka, and Zeka is a great Orianna player. Even though in the past he wasn't considered a mage player, this was his best mage, I would say. And so let's see how well he does in the lane, because if he can keep Faker locked down, pun unintended actually this time, it just keeps coming out when Locke's in the game. If he can keep him stuck in the lane, good time. As this is not going to be a good time at all.
No. At least Gumayusi will be able to bounce some bombs over. Does light a short fuse against Keria here, and that wave is just going to be shoved into the turret. This is one of those lanes where they kind of hope that they can get to light out of here, move around the map, and break up this 2v2. And if Gumayusi does hit his Ludens, then he will be able to just eliminate waves, and things should be okay. This lane has gone the Ambassador's way, but Zeus is going to have to, you know, pull himself together, right, against Doran.
The Electrocute buffs have really made this matchup a lot more playable for the Ambessa. Talking about the old buffs.
Yep, not to mention Ambassador's sustain being buffed a little bit. Obviously does come into play a little bit later on, but when it does, she feels a whole lot better, and it does come in around the time of the Eclipse Spike, which feels fantastic. Keria not going to be able to help grab that bit of CS. Gumayusi should be able to help with this one. Okay, there's the flash in, and Zeus returns the favor at 2 minutes.
All right, bit of a overstep from Doran there under turret.
Man, they are such gentlemen in this top lane, right? Like, Zeus survives with 1 health, right? And then just gives the kill away. And then Doran's like, well, I mean, you gave me the kill in the last game. time for your turn.
Yeah,
with
you and I are
First
sitting
Blood.
here talking about Ambessa Sustain and Electrocute, and Zeus is like, what if Dora just runs it down?
That is definitely going to be helpful.
So we'll watch this again. Mega expires, and with this, Slowy wants to go in at the last possible second here, and then takes the turret shot. And that's
Yeah,
it.
that'll do it. Yeah, Zeus not celebrating just yet, though. And has now teleported back to lane with a
The arena
pickaxe.
is silent, by the way. Like, it's crazy. Like, the Hanwha fans didn't even get like that excited about that play.
They were like, we
I think
like
they're just not
we
really-
like Doran. He used to be our top laner.
I think they're kind of watching like, what the draft though? But what about the rest of the game? How about that lock champion? I'm a little bit worried. As Faker is controlling this lane pretty well right now, but obviously you can see it takes a big deficit. It's his 81st champion.
81st unique pick. That's a cute one. As he is taking a heck of a lot of damage here. Kanavi, can he get the flag drag flash? And the answer is no. And the Ashen Pursuit comes out, and Faker will be able to keep himself alive, but doesn't have a lot of the blue stuff, and also doesn't have a lot of the green stuff either, as he hits level 5, gets a bit of that health back, but attack dissonance really starting to hurt here as Zeka with control of the wave. And this is obviously going to happen, right? It's Orianna. She is very good at controlling lanes, especially into melee champions, so Faker is just going to have to bear the brunt of this.
He doesn't have
Try to be
teleport,
okay. Yeah.
So, you know, he's just really having to play this as best as he can. Luckily for him, it's an Alistair on the other side. Pretty tough for Delight to dive him and set Zeka up. Zeka doesn't have level 6 yet. So this is actually really good back timing for Faker, considering the lane state. So he'll be able to get back. We'll have all of his mana and health back, and then we'll be able to hit level 6 to potentially fight Zeka if he wanted to get some help from the cow. And a follow-up. Didn't have to flash or anything like that. So that was a pretty scary situation for Faker, but he was able to navigate his way out with the blink and get away.
Yep. This wave is actually shoving towards T1, I'm pretty sure. A few extra minions there. Bouncing Bomb does go a little bit wide. It's one of the issues with the Ziggs is that you have a lot of AoE wave clear, and so sometimes you can find yourself a little bit too far away from the wave after taking it down.
You know, with picks like Kale, Kassadin, the chat's always spamming the clock.
Yeah.
You know, and you're looking for, oh, let's get level 16. With Locke, it's just getting 6, actually. That's just the one right there. You get that one? He's
You
got
just
it right
need
now.
to get the Poltergeist, right,
And,
Wolf?
Yeah, once you get the Poltergeist.
Yeah.
It's, you know, Professor Egad was really cooking on this one.
Certainly was.
I think-
As was Bert, who I think came up with it.
Yeah. I think that now you're just kind of like, uh-oh, he could just delete us. That's a problem. We need to make sure that we're not actually on low health for any reason or being dove for any reason.
Oh, Shockwave does come in here, as Faker does not really do too much or need to. Just gets himself out of there. That is going to be Painter locking down the first dragon, though. Chemtech already taken. X-Tech on the docket for the next one, so no Tech Soul this time. As Delight takes way too much damage there.
I actually like how Zeka's playing this. He just went for the tempo ult. He doesn't have kill threat onto Faker, but he's like, you can't leave the lane. I won't allow it. I won't let you press your ultimate in another lane and get money. I'm just going to ult you straight up right into your face, and now you're kind of stuck here. And now you can't challenge this wave. And this is actually a great call from Zeka. Just keeping the lock stuck in turret range, basically.
This has been one of his biggest improvements, I think, is his Orianna play. I think it's really helped HLE out in drafts a lot because it has needed to be banned even by their opposition. When prior to that, I think they were banning it away most of the time. Certainly a lot of evolution here for the young mid laner of HLE.
If Locke goes down on farm, that's okay. He actually will still be functional because he doesn't really need to have a big early component or power spike to do what he wants to do in those early fights where they set up the dives. The problem for T1 is that topside, because of Doran's bit of a oopsie earlier, doesn't have control, and he couldn't leave the lane to get any impact on that first dragon. T1 get the dragon, but HLE don't fight for it and don't end up in a scrap there, so Faker's just forced to back, loses a lot of farm, but he's still waiting for that moment, right? That big opportunity where he can just collect the bag. Locke is a weird champion in that, you know, he doesn't actually do a whole lot in team fights. He just does one combo and deletes people. Just ask Roamer.
Yeah.
And otherwise, I've kind of dubbed him the cheerleading champion, where he just waits for the people to get into the threshold, and then he presses his combo with his ultimate. And if that never happens, you know, if your team isn't winning, you're not doing anything. You're actually not allowed to do anything.
And it's certainly the case in pro play, right? I think in solo queue and stuff like that, there are a lot more skirmishes where
Sure.
you can find yourself advantages, but it's just not how these games have been going. As Delight does face check, does have to headbutt Faker away, but he has that Ashen Pursuit. Catches up to do a bit of damage, gets rid of that passive, so nicely done. Delight does need to be a bit careful here, as you can see. Pretty squishy at the moment on this Alistar. He had to go back, though, and does have teleport.
Deluxe has a lot of burst damage to help Faker out as well. If anyone gets caught, put him into that threshold. He actually went for the Ether Wisp first, Keria, so actually gets a little bit of extra movement speed even in this early game to help out around the map.
That's a cute one.
I like it.
Shirelli is, I think, going to be built up pretty quickly here by the Lux, as Faker does have his shoes now all upgraded. As T1, we're thinking about the grubs, but Kanavi makes his way over. Delight was already here, had teleported back down. And it looks like with Zeus' help, they will guarantee grub control. That is the beauty of that first blood on the top side of the map. These grubs feel pretty comfortable. That's a great sidestep as Pace just flashes on top of Guma. Shouldn't have used the satchel, my friend, as he flashes and aims the Peacemaker.
All right.
Oh my goodness, that outplay must have really hurt.
I know Umpty is on the analyst desk right now on the Korean side and he can't hear me, but Umpty, this is what I'm talking about. Umpty and I were having a long conversation about Ziggs yesterday and about how I didn't really like Ziggs. Brendan was there as well. Valdez was in the conversation. If you use your buttons in the 1v1 on the side, then you don't have your buttons. But the 80 carry...
I mean, if you miss all your buttons, yeah. I think if you hit everyone...
Side steps here, right? Like,
yeah.
Just side steps, and then the second the ability's used, Paige is like, I kill you. He flashes on him. He's like, you're dead. It's just period. He's like, it's math. Yeah, I got it. You're done. And, yeah, that was... unfortunately for Guma, the issue. I was going to say Guma stabilizing, right? Like, this game is going exactly the way HLE wants. Faker hasn't been able to get any skirmishes yet. And then just all of a sudden, misplay in the bottom lane, and Paze, he is the guy. He is the Punisher.
He is.
He's him.
And look, I mean, I think some would say that Satchel should be reserved for saving yourself. And I think maybe Gumushi is going to have a good hard talking to himself about how he's going to use that Satchel from now on. And if he doesn't, then I imagine Orcs will send him a DM. As, all right, in goes Doran. It's his turn to try and kill this little mage Yordle, and he does use it on himself. There we go. Okay, Doran is just going to teleport away. As trading places happens once again, Zeus turns up, and he says, all right, let me take care of this wave.
That was a
we'll go home.
Pretty wise choice there from Doran. I think he might have wanted to just teleport to his turret instead, but it would have lost a lot of... Like, he had a lot of health that he lost in that exchange, so if he went back to his turret, it might have actually put him in a rough spot. Ultimately, we'll be able to get all of this wave anyways, so it doesn't matter too much.
Yep.
So I guess maybe I spoke a bit too soon on that one. Either way, a small win here for HLE on the top side. This dragon is going the way of T1.
Yeah, it's a lot of dragons in a row here for T1 so far this series.
And Faker hasn't had that big fight yet, but the threat of it has kept HLE pretty honest.
Well, Final Spark doesn't really do too much. The headbutt is going to push him away, and that blast going into Smite. Just too good from Painter.
Yeah, I think Keria wanted to try to maybe set up the Smite there, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't need his help.
Yeah, in goes Zeus right underneath this turret. Faker is just dead, ladies and gentlemen. Zeus is going to have to flash. Oh, I think almost would have been able to do the walk away, but did not want to risk giving this locker kill.
Yeah, definitely the right choice to flash there. Good punish from HLE, walking out of a lost dragon into a big win there in the mid lane. And this game is very close right now, as there just hasn't been that big explosive moment. Luck, if he uses all of his buttons, can clear the wave, right? But that means he doesn't have them. And so Faker, I think, it was a pretty obvious play for HLE to get that punish there. They were ready for it, and Faker was killed. Now he's down his flash as well. Got a flash in exchange, but I think definitely a huge win for Hanwha Life Esports. They do have 3 grubs with this composition for later on. They've denied that from the Caitlyn. I give them a slight edge in this game right now, despite being down 2 dragons, just because the win con of this draft for T1 hasn't gotten off the ground yet. They had that lane prio on the bottom side. They even got a solo kill there, but Faker is still a little bit in the hole right now.
Yeah, I do think that HLE need to deny some dragons from now on, though, because it's a Mountain Soul, and for a composition that doesn't have a traditional AD carry, you want your burst to actually work.
Yes.
And I don't know whether they're going to be able to if a few of these mountains are stacked up, and then that soul comes in. It's going to be very, very difficult. As Gumushi throws some stuff around, he's going to be able to clear out the wave here in the mid lane.
I think they should be able to win fights from here. I think now they're ready to fight. Now they're ready to challenge this lock. And remember, this is where Caitlyn gets to be at her weakest as well. Now they're going to dive the lock again.
Yep, flash hip up. Pulverize does come in. There's the knock up from Kanavi, and nowhere that Faker can go. Delight very comfortably tanks up that turret with the ultimate. And the problem for T1 is that Zeus is still too strong on the other side of the map, right? And getting on over here towards the top side is only playing further into a losing situation.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to put Faker in a place where he could just farm safely, but there is nowhere safe if Kanavi wants to get on you on this map right now. And I think this was... Okay, hold on.
Oh, yeah. That was a very nice satchel that time around. Used a little bit offensively, but otherwise he is going to be okay. Just barely didn't have his flash. It's now Doran kiting this one away. Zeus with ulti up and available, but Doran trying to get towards Mega Gnar, as we can see here. Zeus realizing that with this mini Gnar does have a lot of movement speed, doesn't want to just blindly throw out the ultimate with the ability to sidestep it, and wants to preserve that lead.
I think HLE are in a position now where what they really need to do is just make sure that they can keep control over the map and use all of their zoning tools, right? They have a Ziggs and an Orianna. They have pretty strong frontline that T1 has conditionally with Mega Gnar, otherwise doesn't have. And T1 want to be able to set up an explosive lock execute in a team fight, and if they don't have map control, setting it up is so challenging, especially when lock is not ahead. Because Faker hasn't gotten any of those early kills we've often seen in our lock wins, where the lock is on like 4 kills at this stage in the game and is stacking a Dark Seal and is feeling really great. He's got a Dark Seal with 0 stacks right now, doesn't have any completed item.
The only way to go is up, Wolf.
Yeah.
When it comes to those stacks.
So, I mean, I think right now, HLE, if they understand their win cons here and they understand the game state, are in a really comfortable spot at this point in time, despite the lack of dragons.
Yeah, and they also have a lot of wave clear as this Ziggs gets more and more items. This mid lane should be under control. The bouncing bomb comes in. Kanavi should be able to take away the crab. And Kanavi does have a bit of an advantage in the jungle, 500 gold, based on that kill and assist that he has picked up. Camps are very, very even, but Painter not able to be as active in this one. And Trinity Force is done here for Doran. That might be able to help him out, but that Eclipse has been done for a long time for Zeus. He's going to be building towards item number 2 relatively soon.
Is not TPing back to lane, so he's losing a lot of farm, but he can't TP because if he does, then he won't be able to match the TP of Zeus for this potential fight.
God. Every bouncing bomb is just so scary. As Painter doesn't hit the Sonic Wave, the HLE are just making this map as dark as possible.
I don't think
they go for this Rift Herald.
I don't think T1 are going to be able to find an angle here to set this lock up right now. I mean, Faker is so far away. They're just acting like they might actually commit to a fight, but otherwise are not.
Oh, flash from Carrier does not want to risk it. As the flag and drag was threatened, Kumiishi gonna come on over, throws out the bouncing bomb. A lot of damage there onto Pays. Even the Comet is really starting to hurt.
Pays did have the solo kill where he dodged everything, but Guma has otherwise been incredibly accurate this game as Faker's going for an all-in.
Yeah, actually doing a lot of damage here to Zeka. The lightning does come down from the sky. Still, Kanavi moving back towards this outer turret. And Painter has at least pushed them away from the Rift Herald.
That was a really aggressive play there from Faker, and Zeka wasn't confident that he was going to be able to lock him down with an ult, so he didn't commit, and that Faker actually wins the trade and pushes the Orianna out of the side lane.
And actually, like, Storm Surge versus Rod of Ages with 4 stacks, like,
spike.
that is better.
Yeah, it's a big spike in the individual matchup, 100%, and the Rod of Ages isn't stacked that much, so it's not that great defensively into the lock at this moment in time either, and actually T1 with a slow play here will be able to get this Herald. It's a trade for Dragon, but I didn't think they were going to be able to get any ins on that one, but they played it so fantastically. Like, they were just waiting, forcing HLE to make awkward decisions. Now Faker may get punished.
Well, there is the Poltergeist.
Defensive slow.
Yep, and we'll be able to flash out of the way. With Delight coming up, it was a bit of a scary moment. He didn't have flash available, I'm pretty sure, unless he did use it prior to Faker using his. Now Doran will hop after Zeus here, but I'm not really going to be doing too much.
This game is very slow, and it's going to come down to one big moment, right? We're only at 4 kills here at 17 minutes because both teams know how volatile this is going to be. But I think the low kill game favors HLE, and they don't have to force any fights they don't like. They don't have to force any trades they don't like because time is on their side as this lock is still 700 gold behind. And it gets harder and harder to have that big lock explosive moment the longer this game goes on and the more dragons that HLE stack up as well.
I mean,
that guy's going to get this whole turret its first brick.
yeah, I do agree with you. As Mega Inferno Bomb does come down, that is going to deny this turret take. As Courier and Painter were both in this area. Faker was moving up towards that bottom lane as well. Zeus will be just vacating. I do think that HLE need to win in a specific window.
I agree.
do
like
think
eventually,
that once FaZe gets
yeah.
4 items, it's kind of over.
Eventually, you will get to a point where T1 do win out if like nobody dies and it's a slow game. But I think that gets tougher and tougher, and HLE will be able to control the map, right, and stop pace from getting to that game state comfortably if they keep playing slow like this. But I do agree with you, like in a vacuum. I think you're absolutely right about that.
And I also feel like that is a relatively PaZe unique thing. We've seen him do this so many times on this pick specifically.
Yeah, there was that one game, I can't remember who it was against, but he was like, you know what, I put my try-hard pants on, and I'm going to save this game.
Yep. As Painter is going to throw down the Rift Herald and look to take down Gumayushi. He does use his satchel defensively, though. That is very, very nice. Shelly going to get a headache ramming into this turret. It's a lot of plate gold going on over to T1.
That was the most convoluted way to get a Herald to charge that we've ever seen, but they were almost able to get Guma to flash there. Still got the charge onto the turret. It is very low, and there's a Caitlyn pushing into it, so T1 are trying to get some value out of that. They don't have any turrets just yet. HLE got that top turret. 2 of these turrets on sides are down to 1 plate, so there's definitely some money on the map that T1 are close to getting.
But it is, as it stands, a 2.8k gold lead. Delight going down a little bit low, but he'll eat some honey for it. He'll be all right. And Shirelli is done here for Carrier, as well as the Locket of the Iron Solari completed for Delight. I think that extra movement speed for T1 will be very important. So we're still waiting for Painter to get his flashback and Faker to get his. Carrier also just a little bit away from his being picked up once again as Kanavi. Can he get the steal on this red buff? That's the question. It does reset back into the pit as Guma does make his way over. 5 members of T1 in the area as Delight looks to try and turn it, and they get right on top of the Gnar and take him out. Now the Cataclysm as Kanavi continues to fight. Kick comes back as Painter will get rid of him, and now the final spark, and there is Faker finding the kill under the cow. A 1-for-1 top for support, but HLE will claim the red.
It's a really good save there from Faker, coming in to pick up that ultimate there on the trap into Delight. Otherwise, that would have been a net win for HLE and would have felt so terrible for T1 as Doran is focused down before he could really impact the play. You can see the idea behind this here for T1 to try to challenge, but Delight just instantly punishes with Kanavi. That mid-jungle, or sorry, support jungle synergy in this one working incredibly well for the 2 of them. They are able to force the retreat here, but with all that burst damage coming in, another binding to come through, Faker's able to get the execute with his ultimate, pick up the first kill of the game, as Faker may also be the target here of the next play.
Yeah, Zeus for a little bit of an angle on top of him. He's taking a lot of damage. There's the TP to come through. Doran coming down, looking to try and defend his mid laner, and I think he should be able to at least deter Zeus from killing Faker. Zeus is so scary, man. Black Cleaver is now done as well as the Eclipse.
Zeka also teleported down for a potential extended play there, so doesn't actually have any extra push on top, but he also keeps the wave away from Faker as a result of that. And I think that's why Doran was happy to make the TP save play there, because he's like, well, there is no top turret, so eventually if you push it in, we'll get that farm. But it's kind of awkwardly not the case, as Faker has to go all the way up to the top of that lane now to get it. And T1 have done a great job of controlling the mid lane this game with this Caitlyn pick. You know, Painter and PaZe have been putting serious work in to try to find a potential angle to catch an HLE member here as they defend that turret. This is a really good game of League of Legends that we are watching right now. I think we haven't gotten to the finale. We haven't got to the explosive game-deciding moment that T1 is looking for to get themselves back into this one.
Ooh, Delight. Gonna get turned on here momentarily. Painter has shown himself towards the top side of the map, though, and is looking to try and steal away some Krugs, but Orianna there to defend. And this Dragon should now go over to Kanavi. And we'll see whether T1 can actually get there in time, as, yeah, Painter is booking it down towards this pit. Carrier is there, and HLE are just going to back away. I think realizing that they're probably going to have to look for a team fight on this one as Painter goes in. Not sure about that one. Final spark goes down, and that is going to be the secure by the Ambessa somehow. Zeus also tanks up the ace in the hole to save Kanavi some health there. So 2 Drakes apiece as HLE get their second mountain, and I feel like every mountain is so valuable here for HLE when they've got this brawly composition.
Well, yeah, and also just preventing the burst from T1's comp from really setting up that execute threshold for Faker as well. And, you know, if they had stolen that, it would have been amazing for T1. They had the burst set up there for the Carrier with the final spark again. Last time he was able to get the crazy outplay and get out, but this time it was a bit too early, unable to do so. So HLE find themselves with 2 Mountain Dragons, and it gets tougher and tougher from here. As I still think HLE are in a fantastic spot in this game. I think T1 have played a really controlled, careful game, though. A lot of the time when we see lock fall behind in these types of drafts, teams just send it. And the lock looks horrible, and it doesn't work out, and people are like, I thought this champion was supposed to be broken. But Faker's like played some really nice side laning. He's been trading really well. He was able to pick up that kill on a Delight earlier. Playing a slow game here from behind with Lock, and it might not in the end work out, but I've been pretty impressed with what they've put together despite the deficit here. But Hanwha Life, so controlling right now on the map.
Yeah, Carrier, it's very difficult for him to walk up. Doesn't exactly have much of a health bar to speak of. Does have Shirelias to run away, but hard to run away when a Jarvan Cataclysm is awaiting you. And Gumayusi continuing to put on the pressure here in this mid lane, getting more and more comfortable. Shadow Flame now completed. As Delight Hex flashing over. Hugh going to miss there from Painter as Kanavi in the Baron pit right now. But there is a lot of vision here for T1. I feel like they've been great at that, as there is the Poltergeist, as we like to call it. But Faker not really going to find too much there, and now they're going to look to turn it onto Painter. Headbutt Pulverize does come down. Mega Inferno Bomb not doing too much of anything, though, as the Light Binding will not connect onto Kanavi, and he just gets himself out. A lot of buttons now put on cooldown, but no one hitting the deck just yet.
Particularly Zeka's is not. I think he is the most important person in this scrap right now that T1 have to respect. They are going to be able to just kind of fight their way around the other side and get the turret. Final spark. Annoying Delight slightly there, but that is all it's going to do.
Yeah,
but
very nice. As Delight almost dies to the ace in the hole.
Wow.
Okay. That's a bit frightening. I think he's just about to steal away a red buff as well. Unless that did get picked up by Zeka. And honestly, I mean, who really is the best suited for another red buff? Probably Zeus, but he is not in the area. Now looking to head back towards this bottom side of the map. That gold lead for HLE is dissipating.
So now T1 with this turret pickup, it's a low kill game. That's the difference, right? That between these two teams was that HLE had the turrets, but now T1 have picked up 2 additional ones. Now they actually have the turret advantage. It's such a tiny gold lead here, and almost all of it is on Kanavi, right? I mean, they have that lead over Faker. What we talked about already, he's on 2 items. His value in the team fight is to just delete the targets. The rest of the team does most of the work, right? And some of these scraps so far have just been a little bit messy from HLE, where they get an advantage but then get punished. Speaking of punishing,
yeah, Painter goes in. Kanavi just going to give him a little bit of a passive auto attack, and Audi will go one more time. Area threatening. Painter is just always there, trying to start something. But Zeka's moving down. Faker a little bit later on the rotation. Painter still wanting to start something up here as he does just safeguard forward right on top of Delight. There is the Unbreakable Will as they look to take down the Lee Sin, but he flashes out of the way. Another Mega Inferno Bomb goes wide as the ulti from Faker is going to connect onto a few. And there's the boom boom damage as the double comes in from Faker. And now Doran just hops right over the top. Faker looking for his third. It's Pays that locks it down. 4 on the floor for HLE. Should be a Baron for T1.
it's not the first time T1 have been behind and just found their moment here in round 3. Guma trying to layer that poke in, but I just don't think he has enough damage here. Painter is very low, and we know what kind of Baron this is, even though Ox is off today.
Oh, Gumayusi in a lot of trouble. Faker's moving up. And let's see whether the nails will ring true. Gumayusi, that's not the satchel that he wanted, as Faker almost dies, actually. Would have been one more button, and he might have just been taken out. Still, Lock is another kill.
It's a lot of things, but durable is not one of them. He does end up taking a bunch of damage there, but this fight is so scrappy the way it's set up here. They just put the pressure onto HLE. The Painter goes in and forces a reaction, but he's Lee Sin. They use everything on him, and T1 are like, all right, well, actually, this is a fight we could take, because look at the front to back. Your Pays is set up so well. They get the burst down onto the Ambassador. The execute threshold is hit. Faker ends up getting a second, and they delete this Orianna. They just picked HLE apart, because HLE's all of their engage on Elisa and couldn't peel after that.
Well, there's a kickback on a Kanavi as well, as Faker is going to get the flash out from this job, and he's going to go back in, though, because he's Kanavi, and that's what he wants to do. Teleport to bring the Ziggs into the battle.
Well, you look at the gold.
Dragon is soul point for either team.
The gold is just so much the advantage of T1 after just one big play. Now they have complete control over the map.
Delight really wants to take Faker out of the fight before it's even really started in earnest. Gets the headbutt pulverized. They're looking to try and chain CC, and they will be able to connect it. Now can Kanavi get into the back of this pit to take this one down? The answer is no, but can they win the fight? This Mega Inferno Bomb is way better from Gumayusi as Doran hits Mega. Zeus trying to survive, but now he's actually looking to try and kill Doran. Doran, can he actually get the last auto? The answer's no, and that is just the ace. There goes the Baron, and HLE take back control.
Baron's gone. HLE get the gold lead back. A huge team fight win for them. They've got 3 grubs on this Ziggs. This mid turret is not going to last very long at all. T1 were super hyper-focused on this Dragon secure. By the way, Painter, I'm pretty sure didn't even have Smite, actually. Does get it in the last second.
There was a Smite sound.
Yeah. He didn't have it, I think, at the initial headbutt there, but it came up just as he was walking away there. And so that was risky in itself, the whole situation there. But because it's so awkward for them to take the Dragon, it takes so long, that it's a great punish to come through from HLE. And they're back in the driver's seat. We just saw like a 6,000 gold swing twice, basically.
Yeah, that was crazy. That Rebel Baron power play probably moot at this point because we have moved back to a 3,000 gold lead. Zeus going to get spotted here by Faker. Let's see whether Faker can find the execute, and I think he definitely can. Boom goes the Dynamite, and down goes the Gambessa. 1 minute until Zeus is back again.
That's the thing about side laning into into a lock as well with any champion, is if he just presses buttons on you and has an R on you, there is no outplay. You go boom. And even an Ambessa can't get the outplay 3 levels up because he's just too low on health. Faker's like, you can't stay against lock, by the way. Watch this, I press R, and then you disappear.
Yeah, and the Ashen Pursuit was already down, trying to catch the escape, and he did have the cavalry making their way in. Zeus now has a GA, that'll help him, but didn't have it in that last exchange. T1 looking to steal away this red buff. That will go over to Painter. And now he wants to kill Kanavi. Flags and drags underneath this inner turret.
Faker's got a huge push in the bottom lane that Zeka's going to have to respond to. And they have control in the top side jungle. Very awkward here for HLE in this small little interim. That 1 kill onto Zeus just opened up the map entirely here for T1, as Faker's just going to run away. Doesn't like this fight. That's a healthy side lane champion he's playing into, so he's not gonna like that, especially without his ultimate.
Yeah, Zeker as well with the dissonance will be able to move himself pretty quickly. One thing I do want to note is that we've got Pays hitting 3 items with the Mortal Reminder completed, but Gumayusi has a very cool hat, and also is about to complete a Void Staff as well. The 4-item core for this Ziggs is just going to be so much damage.
It's a lot of damage, it really is. But they need to win the fight quickly. They need to prevent T1 from setting up a combo.
And they need to prevent T1 from getting a Mountain Soul as well in 2 minutes' time. I think that Drake is going to be a huge deal for both of these teams, but I think HLE definitely need to take it if they want to win this game.
If T1 get this Dragon, their call to force it on the last one, even though they got wiped, to secure Soul Point, will have been worth it. And that's what we're going to find out, is whether it was or not. The fact that Faker has been able to budget in an extra Zonias into his build as well with the kills he's picked up here on the fringe means that he can get an extra combo off in a team fight here post Zonias to get some executes potentially, as we're going to see a collapse with TP.
Oh, Doran just going to teleport out. Oh, the pulverize from over the wall! And now Doran going to be forced into some alcove gaming that he absolutely doesn't want. And down will go the Gnar. 1:20 on the Drake.
And Doran doesn't have
no
TP.
teleport.
So it's going to be awkward for him to set up a Gnar bar for this fight. I just don't think he'll be able to.
Oh god, there's Gumayushi's Void Staff as well. Item Spike has been hit.
Exhaust first, and then flashes to get this pull over the wall. Crazy, crazy business here from Delight. He said, no, we're committing 4 people. I'm not going to let you waste our time. Really committing 5 people ultimately, with Guma coming down as well.
And man, Gumayusi taking a big old chunk as 4 items were completed by Pays at the same time. Daddy carries are very, very close in power level right now, despite that gold lead being slightly in favor of Gumayusi. 4 items feel so good for the Caitlyn, especially when one of them lets you hit people from a billion miles away.
Exactly. That's the big one. You know, you get the big damage, and now you get to use it. Now you have that rapid fire cannon. So Baron and Dragon are up, and because it's not Soul for HLE, T1, get play around Baron a little bit here, but HLE are actually going to start it because it's 15 seconds till Dragon. They've calculated, they think they have enough damage here, and it looks like T1 are not going to be able to respond, nor will they necessarily be able to, in the interim, get the Dragon before HLE can rush over and stop them. That's the question. They are already on it.
I do think
I don't know
Baron,
if you want this trade. If you can't stop this Dragon, then I think you might regret this choice, HLE. It's a Mountain Dragon, but we're 33 minutes in, so it's just not going to last long enough.
Nope. So this Mountain Soul is going to go over to T1 as Doran hits Mega. He's on control vision, but Delight is also in a bit of trouble. There is the Gnar from... Oh no, never mind. Doran not going to be able to find it. Gets it onto 2 in the end, but he is still dead. Flashes out of the way. Kanavi tries to get in there, but it's Gumayushi with the bomb to take him down. With 1 dead, then there might be an opportunity for HLE to push, but Mountain Soul, if T1 can reset and get back out onto the map with 5 people, this could be a very, very tough game for HLE. It's such a gambit to go for the Baron instead.
They do have a Fed Ziggs with 3 grubs with Baron. So I think what their plan here is to just go and get as much damage done straight up in their faces as possible. There's no Gnar here, and they're going to open this base up directly. They might even start sieging those Nexus turrets because there just is not a whole lot of T1 right now without Doran.
Oh, this is so scary, though. Faker is on a bit of a flank angle as Kanavi gets in there right on top of Pays. Mega Inferno Bomb does so much work as he's down to the GA. Look at these Nexus turrets. They're just exploding. Delight trying to get rid of Faker as they're trying to burst down the Nexus. And it just goes. HLE bring us to a Game 3 in the blink of an eye.
That was such a direct call from HLE. Just push in. There's no Gnar. We've got a Fed Ziggs. He basically one-shots turrets. 3 grubs don't even matter because there was no time ticking on those structures.
I was so scared, man. I think Game 1 I lost a bit of faith in HLE. But they knew they get a Ziggs with a Baron, they will eviscerate every structure in their wake. And as soon as Doran died, they knew that they would be able to get it done.
Such a decisive call. This is such a low damage game because there wasn't a whole lot of team fighting. I mean, in this one, it's 9 to 12 kills total. And a lot of those kills happened in the final moment where they tried to defend the push, but there's just too much damage. Like you say, HLE with a decisive call there. They shut the lockdown early, and they were able to get the important objective that mattered the most, the Baron, to push to end. It looked scary. It was a very close game, but they're back on the board.
Well, let's just see whether HLE can use that as momentum to win a game number 3 or whether T1 can restabilize and do it again. It does feel like T1's win was a little more convincing. Let's go to a short break. When we get back, the space. Gonna break that one down, then we'll have the 3rd game. We'll see you soon.
캔티 풀보 공 써라. 바로 쓰지 말고.
형이 공 써달래 써줄게 형. 로커 없다.
쓸만하고 이거.
쓸만해.
쓸만해. 가자. 왼쪽.
라인 하나 더 오고.
로커 뒤에. 로커 볼 수 있는 사람. 맞아. 로커.
안 돼.
로커 나한테 막는다. 천천히 볼게. 타워 볼게. 타워 봐. 빠르긴 해. 타워 다 깼어. 천천히 해봐.
타워 깨봐.
넥서스. 나이스. 잡았다.
In Game 3. Yeah, and also a bit of a different ban phase as well, I think. With the Orianna already taken away and a lot that has been used up already, could be an interesting one as far as what this is going to look like.
I was going to say Lulu is the first ban I'm thinking of right now is Lulu. And it just warps all the lanes, right? So take that one away. Lucian, I think, might be banned by Hanwha Life Esports as well. We'll see if they do opt for that. They don't have to ban it first. It'll be the Cassiopeia. Rakan taking away a little bit of engage as well here.
Yeah, and one of Delight's best picks as well. But also, what I feel like T1 are doing is opening up the ban list, right? Making sure that they have their pick of the litter when it comes to this first pick. Poppy, Bard, Nocturne, Jace.
Lucian.
Yeah, Lucian, another huge one. And I don't know whether HLE are going to very comfortably pick away the Milio, right? And I think that Lucian probably should be banned, to be perfectly honest.
So. I think that it'll be the last ban here for HLE. Picking the Milio away is so tough. We've seen teams try and struggle with it. We've seen it work occasionally, but it usually doesn't. As
Nautilus.
Two engages and the Lulu we talked about, so triple support taken away from Delight here. So a lot of tools removed.
So is the Bard banned? Is like Ezreal banned, like Nocturne? The Skarner was banned in the last game, but I think Poppy is also really worth a mention.
Guys, this is just really scary for HLE
Yeah.
right now.
I think the Lucian first pick is probably what T1 are looking for, because not only there is the ban, I think it's actually a really smart ban, but now there is so much up and available here for T1 to go for, and the Bard will be locked in.
There's no Caitlyn, and there's no Jhin.
But there is Ezreal.
There is
and
Ezreal.
is Gumayusi going to pick it away?
It's got to be Ezreal Karma, right? Like, you've got to be able to play Ezreal here. If you can't lock this here, the most, I would say, potent AD carry pick in the meta, then you're going to have a bad time.
And I mean, Gumayusi can play it.
Yeah.
It's just not one of his favorites, right?
Yeah,
He hasn't played it all season long just yet. Or at least this round robin.
I think he absolutely can play it, and he will. Even though he doesn't prefer it, he is going to lock it in. Rel would be a shocker. Now, they have to find Engage elsewhere if they do go for the Karma, and that is at a premium right now, Engage. So we will see what they do end up picking here for Delight in this game.
Yep. All right. Maybe the reason why Gumayusi didn't want to play Ezreal is that he has a perfect 50-50 win rate on the champion right now. And
It's going to be ruined no matter what.
exactly. So he just wanted to preserve that for as long as possible. Currently 12-12. But the Ezreal Karma is possibly pushing that closer to 51 rather than 49.
Looking likely, because I don't know what Paze is going to play with this Bard right now to be able to salvage this match.
Kai'Sa Bard, baby!
Oh, no. That sounds miserable. Do not do that.
Kai'Sa Bard.
Do not do it. Do not say it. Do not speak it.
Nocturne Bard, baby!
Is he going to play something like weird here? I start to wonder, something really aggressive. Like, I don't think Callista Bard is very good.
Zeri Bard?
I do wonder.
You could call it Berry.
Maybe.
That'd be cute.
I mean, he could play Yunara in this draft. Varus is still available, but is going to struggle in this lane matchup to get out, but we'll have
Varus?
power later.
I love me some Varus. This could also be flexed to the top lane, and I do kind of like that about it. They could flex Varus to the top lane if it's a decent matchup, and then play a mage in the bottom lane if they would like to.
They could do that, for sure. See what this final pick here is going to be. I think it's going to be Kanavi's pick, which almost feels like it's going to be Xin no matter what, if they feel like that's enough engage. Ooh, that's not engage. It is a lot of burst damage, but there's not a lot of CC. In fact, there's no CC.
Yeah,
I mean, Karma could.
I would have really liked the Xin. I would have also kind of liked the Wukong here as well. But
yeah, Wukong would have been great into Nocturne, and it's great CC. I actually really like that angle.
Kind of fun one.
What about Annie? I think Annie probably going to get banned by T1 in this draft. I don't think they want Zeka to have that.
Sivir. Not believing that this Varus is going towards the bottom lane.
I think a good read.
And also gives Zeus the ability to pick something that forces or could potentially force the Varus top and then have FaZe pick something awkward towards the bottom side of the map. We'll see what they do decide to do.
I'd like to see an Annie ban here from T1 and the Akali instead. We don't know what Faker's planning on playing here, so he might be tipping his hand a little bit with that Akali ban. Surely not an Azir pick in current year.
Do you know what I want? I want Zeka to play Sylas. I feel like Paranoia and Chains of Corruption are pretty good ultimates. And it's Zeka. He's pretty cool on Sylas. Faker also, I mean, he's got a skin on Sylas. He's pretty good at the champion as well. But don't know whether you get as much value from the Sylas when there's a Karma on the Rift.
Sandra.
That's a cool ban, actually.
pretty telling that he wants to play something aggressive here. Eventually, the Ahri Nefiri, my favorite mid-jungle synergy.
Yeah, you are reliant on the charm a lot, especially when you have no engage from the bottom lane as well. I imagine that HLE are going to be priced into outranging or finding some engage elsewhere. The Mundo going to be taken away from Zeus. Yeah, pretty good ban.
Really like that because it's so problematic, so annoying to deal with that front line when you're playing Varus. And so let's see what we're going to see. Annie really, it works for me. It's an easy CC setup, a lot of burst damage. You already have the burst setup, but he likes the Silas angle you mentioned.
Echo would be fine too. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
Oh, that's Syndra. That's Annie. Aww.
I think Syndra is the worst option. This Ahri is tricky. It is really tricky.
Okay, what does Faker play into it? That's the question.
He could play Silas into it himself, but not the best set of ultimates overall, but works with their composition really well. If he just plays Victor, I also think that's okay.
All right, well, the Rumble first here for Zeus. That's a pretty powerful option, especially with the Mundo now removed.
Doran's pick is always going to be blind in this draft, so picking a strong one feels really good.
Oh, I do think picking Rumble is kind of dangerous, though, Wolf, because we have seen the rise of the Ornn counterpick. It was Keen that played so well in it, I'm pretty sure, in the most recent time that we saw it. But that gives them an engage option.
Yeah, it does. It really does. I'm kind of feeling what you're saying here. Let's find out what's happening ultimately. Is it just going to be the Victor? I think it's fine. I think it's totally okay because of the Ahri pick.
Yeah.
And now they just kind of scale. Like, just because you have Nocturne doesn't mean you have to build a dive comp. You really don't. You could just use it defensively, play around Bard ults and timings. So Bard ultimate is so far, the range is so long that the Nocturne can follow on it very easily. So can Equalizer from such a far way away.
It's interesting, though, because neither of these teams really have engaged outside of Painter throwing his body at them.
Cassante over Ornn is...
I don't know whether I like this as much.
It's okay.
Okay, that's a Cho'Gath! And even though it's not on, it's way more fun! And we've got Huni on the desk!
It's kind of like, it feels like in this draft, to a certain extent, it's almost like it's a budget Mundo.
Yeah,
super
kind of.
tanky. It's going to be very annoying to deal with. It is so large that it's hard to stop it from getting to your carries.
It's also hard to click on the carries if he's standing on them when he's that big.
Yeah, I'm not sold on this pick, but it is very fun. It is very exciting. And it works really well as a response to the Bard as well in team fights. Just get right on top of the action during that stasis. Matchup-wise, not a common one to see that into the Rumble. And it is going to be really on Doran, I think, to space this correctly, make sure it doesn't get caught by any big knockups. You don't want to be trading into the Cho'Gath. If you start losing those, get silenced, you're going to have a really bad time, and then you're just going to get eaten. And then we're going to see this Nefiri pay a few visits. I think we'll be seeing the Nefiri top side in this game no matter what, as that is the easiest lane to gank for Hanwha Life Esports here in this draft. For T1, sit back, scale up, play the slow game.
Yep, and just hope that the Cho'Gath doesn't get too large. Some interesting drafts on both sides of the rift here moving into this game number 3. It's hard to adjudicate when things are a little bit weird what's going to happen. Let's get into it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, if HLE win this, it's going to be their first blue side win since returning to Korea.
Wow.
Which is an interesting thing.
That's an interesting stat.
Yeah. They haven't been on the blue side all that often. They have been picking the first pick. Therefore, they are often just heading towards red. But we'll see what they can make of it here as Gumiishi back on the Ezreal. What feels like a very long time since he has been on this one. See how it is going to do as Paze and Carrier are getting pushed away for now. First Mystic Shot thrown at an enemy champion is going to connect. Second one misses. 50%, ladies and gentlemen. Same as his win rate. We love to see it.
Zaka not enjoying level 1 too much. I'm curious to see how Guma performs on this Ezreal, because like you said, we haven't seen it in a while. Turn on that damage.
The Vorpal spikes. Let's get him out. Yeah. I remember when that ate through your mana like crazy, man.
Yeah, it's still, you know, it's expensive, but not as expensive as it used to be.
I mean, like at least because it used to just be a straight up toggle.
Yeah.
And you just could do nothing else with it, which is kind of funny. And I think if you play him in Classic, that's how he is. It's kind of funny thinking about Cho'Gath, one of the least changed champions in League of Legends.
Yeah, I haven't encountered
Still having some changes. I don't know whether he is in Classic.
Yeah, I actually don't know.
I'm not really much of a Cho'Gath guy.
He's not enjoying this moment here as Doran's going to get his heat exactly where he wants it.
Yeah, that is going to be a lot of damage from that Rupture coming on through, though. Level 3 is at least claimed here by Zeus, who does move past the turret and will be able to get himself back.
Even with the Varus pick here, you do not win this lane into the Karma Ezreal. So Hayes just taking TP is just going to try to weather the storm right now. As Doran will hit this harpoon right off the rip as Zeus shows back up to the lane. And Doran is 4-0 on this Rumble pick. I mean, a stat I didn't expect to see. He's always been a pretty good Rumble player, but...
How is he Rumble versus Cho'Gath, though?
Yeah, I don't know that specific number.
Yeah.
I don't actually have that data.
Checkmate, Wolf.
But I guess we'll find out together, won't we? Delight, I guess, in the end, successfully stopped Paze's back.
Yeah. All right.
See if he'll get his back stopped by Carrier. He did.
Well, this time. So far, so good on the Ezreal, though. Going for a little bit of a reset here as Paze has taken Teleport, which will allow him to go for a reset a little bit more comfortably.
This is actually, by the way, okay, we have a little bit of a fight here, but Delight stopped the back, but then got his back stopped like 3 times, and now it's going to be Guma alone here into this forest for a little while.
Yeah,
so that could be annoying.
Coming on over as he does take the Rift Scuttler, but is he going to keep himself alive? That's the question. Gets the fear onto Kanavi, who has to flash to get out of the way. There is the Rupture landing, but Zeus is in so much trouble. Needs the auto flash, goes over the wall, but Painter went in a different direction. Good defensive Rupture comes down as Zeka will get that face check and takes out Painter to even out the trade. The first blood still goes over to T1.
Very, very tense moment there. That fight was on a knife's edge. They're luckily still able to get Painter there, but that was incredibly close. Zeus just wasn't able to guess where the flash went there from Painter. Now he's down flash as well. On the play, a lot of flashes burned. Delight trying to hold this wave.
Will successfully do so, at least with these caster minions. So that is good for Zeus to try and hold this wave here. Carrier clearing out some vision. Throwing a drink over the wall there. Pays if he does need it. Is Gumayushi not going to be able to hit the Mystic Shot? Does hit the rest.
So I think part of why Delight went topside there was because he and Guma got a little desynced on those backs. And that's very annoying for Guma right now, fighting himself 1v2. But going back to this play here, Zeus comes over, Rupture goes down, but with Doran coming over here, the early game damage of this Cho'Gath, especially when Jungler is feared here, is not that high. And as you can see, Painter gets over the wall. That ward is T1. Zeus didn't know where Painter was. Man, they were trying to make something of this, but ultimately he will go down. Zeka picks up the kill. Zeka with a nice punish. It's good that he gets the money in this exchange.
Yep, especially when he takes all of that damage from the Arcane Storm here in this mid lane. Faker just doing it for a little bit of pressure. That kill helping Zeka as far as the gold is concerned, but he is 10 CS down against Faker, who just stuck around in the mid lane. Kanavi coming on over. Carrier looking for the Cosmic Binding, doesn't quite find it. As Delight looking for a pincer maneuver. Zeka with the inside track as there's a teleport back from the Varus. Painter getting taken down low. The flash forward from Zeka, but he's unable to kill Painter. Still Kanavi able to claim Carrier's life. Now Painter coming down. Zeka gets his way in. Drake is going to be secured by HLE as well, but Paze landing the damage. Zeka dancing around the fight though, and Paze cannot kill anyone. They all just escape on a sliver of health. Maybe Delight will go down as this Blight is stacked up. And there's the flash in. They do manage to turn it around though. And it's only the sacrifice of the Karma. HLE moved to 5-2.
I don't understand why T1 wanted to full send on this team fight, especially when you consider how they played games 1 and 2, so slow, so controlled. This was the exact opposite. And they don't have the control over the mid lane. Faker is super low here. This is not a 3v3 that you can win And by the time Paze gets here with his turtle port, the fight is over. Faker doesn't have mana to continue the play. And the dragon isn't even secured by Painter. It's just a huge disaster. Into this Ahri comp? I don't think so.
Yeah. This is also a lethality Varus as well, so I feel like the late game insurance isn't quite there as there's another rupture onto Door, and he's just dead. And Navi hits the level 6, and yeah, there goes the gold lead in the only lane you had it.
And just like that, it feels like this game might just be done. HLE winning critically on that dragon, getting the kill here also on the Doran. And like you said, lethality Varus in this draft not going to necessarily feel all that great.
Yeah, I just feel like the late game insurance isn't there as much. I feel like if they were able to roll that snowball, it's a different story. But, like, does Zeus ever die to lethality Varus?
It's also just kind of a weird game to play lethality Varus in, I feel.
There is a lot of mobile champions.
They're playing also, you know, this Comet variant into a Karma lane, so there isn't that much value there. It's a bit of a weird one. But yeah, on that dragon fight, I think they should have just let it go. They're going to look for a pick on Delight.
This is less weird. That is how you just kill a Karma.
Pretty good value on that serrated Dirk in that exchange.
Yeah, and this is what the pick is capable of, right? I'm really glad that we got that example because you're supposed to be able to do that and then use that in order to get that snowball rolling. And T1 starting it off at least for now, but HLE still with so much control. 1.2k, the advantage, and their composition, I feel, is going to just age like a fine wine here in this game.
Cho'Gath very small still.
Yeah.
Love to see that little small Cho'Gath.
Does have a couple of feast stacks as he has hit level 7.
He's got 2.
I'm trying to put that one on cooldown as often as possible. Good charm. Wow. Manages to land there from Zeka, but still Death Ray is flying on through. Pretty sure it's not called Death Ray anymore.
Ooh,
I apologize to
Navi.
anyone who actually cares.
Actually,
The Bastion Breaker?
yeah, he
No, it's not the Bastion Breaker.
did an oops. The correct item, the Cyclo Sword.
Okay. It would have been fun, though. That item got buffed. He was like,
Yeah.
wow, I can afford a Bastion Breaker. I should buy it. No, Cyclosword is just a little bit too good.
Much
for,
better.
For the Nefiri.
This game is in a weird place right now, where, you know, Paze is the only one who has the advantage because he has those 2 kills. He's able to get one of them in the fight, as we might have to stop talking about that for a second as we have a bit of a scuttle scuffle.
Yeah, Kanavi is going to be able to lock that one down, as the Piercing Arrow is only able to shed the shield from Delight. Cosmic Binding a little bit early there as Painter was moving in. Doran taking a lot of damage from these Vorpal spikes flying out from Zeus as the equalizer just to clear out the wave. Try and cheat some tempo here from Doran on the top side. Zeus just very happy to hang out up here.
Yeah, no, he really is. Doran has TP at least, so that's the good news. Won't have an equalizer anymore. But the game right now is so comfortable for HLE to play out because of the advantages they have right now. All they really need to do is show up to dragon fights and try to set up their engage with Zeka on this Ahri that's so far ahead. And this Victor, if you look at the item difference between this Ahri and the Victor, you know, it's doesn't look good.
Yeah, well, Flash is available here for Faker. Kanavi is going to miss kind of everything and then run away. Faker good sidesteps here. Zeka looking for a bit of a reset. See what he can actually afford when he does go back home. Does have a lot of extra money, as this ward giving a lot of information over to T1 as to Delight's whereabouts. Carrier clears out vision of his own. 18 seconds on the second dragon of the game. Will be an Infernal to find out what the soul is going to be. As Carrier moving down towards his bottom side. Paze spotted, and Delight going to waste no time. Just flashes, gets himself out of there.
I think that's the right call. It is losing your support right before this important dragon would be disastrous and would be potentially giving T1 a big window back into this game.
But losing your support's Flash is also a big deal. You really do want that to actually have any CC.
Luckily,
on this Karma.
He's a Karma, so you mentioned the CC, but he also might just be sitting back and lobbing Qs and dropping shields in this one. It's not like it's a Nautilus that lost Flash that won't be able to get the prio target.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But still, I mean, it is value. It is value no matter what. As T1 would have liked to have the kill, but they'll have to settle for the Flash in this case. As, yeah, getting access to this pit, pretty tough for this composition for T1. They're going to TP, Paze back in with the Ghost Blade, but this is just completely on lockdown as Carrier it'll be fine, but I think this Dragon might just be having a HLE stamp on it in just a moment.
That's what it's looking like for now. Zeus taking some damage here, but I mean, he's got a Spectre's Cowl. I feel like that item is built as an anti-rumble. So we'll be able to help keep Zeus somewhat healthy, as the Drake will be secured here by HLE. And T1 not going to have to sacrifice anyone. It's a Chemtech Soul. I feel like for a Cho'Gath, Chemtech Soul feels pretty all right, especially when you've got the Karma with all the shields. Not a bad game for it.
Oh, definitely really good for HLE. I think pretty low value overall for T1. I guess Victor doesn't hate it, but...
also the Ari, you know, you've got a fair bit of sustain in your kit on
That's
the
true.
Ari as well. Kind of cool. I do like looking for the angles for a Chemtech Soul to be good. It's kind of like my new Cloud Soul.
It's a little hobby we all had to pick up.
That's true.
When Chemtech was considered to be abysmal, we were all like, "Oh God, it's that one again." But we have to say that it's not worthless. But how do we say that it could be good? But it's a really good soul, I think, as we've all learned. But composition dependent, and in this game, I feel like there's way more value on the side of HLE. We have the double dragon and are closer to picking it up. So
I actually really love this build from Zeus. Just to go Spectre's Cowl and then finish your build.
yeah, just because now you're not.
Oh.
Oh boy.
I don't like his positioning all that much, as he's standing on an equalizer for now. Pays stacks up the Blight, and down goes the Cho'Gath. Good pick here for T1.
Caster curses never escape them. Sorry, players.
Yeah.
Guma's going to get some plate gold here in the interim, so that's good news in return.
Yeah, it's not actually the worst situation here for HLE.
As Faker's also kind of stuck under turret on the top side, so you lost the Cho'Gath, but that was the place where you put him on the weak side effectively. It's
It's a lot of damage.
He stacks that attack speed up. He's got his W running.
Well, the whole wave does get taken out here, as Doran is going to look to push this wave in. But Zeka will be able to catch that. Arcane Shift will get Guma out of the way of a potential piercing arrow. And T1 actually showing some forward momentum here as they move towards this outer turret. Blight moves forward, doesn't hit the Mantra Q, but that's because the bad guys were backing away.
Yeah, right now, this is a very fragile game. The lead is there for HLE, but with that last pick onto the Cho'Gath, a little bit of extra money in T1's pockets, it is a game that all they really need is to win one fight on an objective, particularly the Herald that is up in 1 minute, that get themselves right back in the driver's seat.
Yep. I'll Faker gets silenced for a few moments, puts down the Gravity Field. I feel like Gravity Field should have extra power onto Cho'Gath because Gravity does hit him real hard.
He's big boned.
Yeah. And bones are heavy.
True.
But not actually going to be doing too much there. As Gumayushi and Pays just going to be facing off. There is the Blackfire Torch.
Yeah, Faker gets his first item here. Hexblade's been done for a little while here for Painter. Do you want to muster up a real team fight here? And the question is, can they get into position? As that turret is starting to take some big hits here with the grubs stacking on top of it. Can they get enough prio to look for a Herald fight? And how do they fight? Do they ult the backline? Do they try to use it defensively, the Nocturne ultimate, to allow for Faker and Pays to do more damage? This composition for T1 has a lot of moving pieces that don't really fit together like a jigsaw puzzle. It's a little bit more heavy-handed than that. And if you make one mistake in HLE's comp, you will just get punished. There's going to be a charm on a prio target, and Zeka's going to fly through the team fight, and Ezreal is going to be cleaning up house.
Barrier was looking for a bit of an angle here, but they decide not to go for it. As Painter moved over towards this Herald pit. That was a very weird thing that happened with Delight's W.
Mantra W. No, was it even Mantra?
I don't think so. It was just a inner fire, and not a whole lot really happened. Inner fire, is that the Q? Or I'm just going to say W. Snare. The attempted snare. The tether.
Yeah.
I'll say the tether. And it does it again.
Yeah,
there we go. We're just throwing
bug,
tether everywhere. Yep, it is a little bit of a visual situation on the spectator side of things. As Kanavi looking to start off this Herald. And Doran catching a wave towards the bottom side. We've got to teleport back to the mid lane for Pays. As Painter standing on control vision does have his paranoia available. It's so weird seeing every single one of these Ws connect to Pays. It's not really connecting to him.
Yeah.
As the Rift Herald is going to be claimed here by Kanavi.
And T1 didn't get the fight they were looking for. This could not actually hold on to that control.
30 seconds.
A lot of
they might get another one, though.
A lot of it for HLE was just the fact that Delight was up there helping challenge their rotation. You know, funny about the visual bug that we were talking about coming into play, but a lot of that was him just walking up and saying, no, you can't punish me, and I'm going to help keep control over this zone, and you will not be able to get access. He does end up taking a big shot here, though, from Pays.
Oh, 2 items are done here for Kanavi as well. If he can actually make his way back, taking this dragon could be difficult. True Shot Barrage, man, that's a lot of damage from Guma. As Pays might need to go home yet again. He just teleported back in.
Though, is pretty helpful.
True. The buffed up Hex, the Chemtech fruit.
Yeah.
Pretty nice is Carrier going to get charmed by Zeka. It's a lot of combo damage. Does have to flash to get himself out of the way, and I think that means Soul Point goes over to HLE. Slowly but surely,
Legends is back.
closing their grip on this game.
Slowly Legends is back. Who says Kanavi can't just walk over to an objective and take it? He doesn't have to go in. He knows it. He likes to go in, but he also knows when it's not time to.
Yep.
It's just a playthrough. Guma's Ezreal, by the way. I think we should see this one more often. Looking pretty good in that last exchange. Gets the empowered True Shot Barrage and takes half of Pays' health casually as he's been controlling this mid lane. 0-0 and 0, but is going to transform his Muramana potentially faster.
Oh dear. There's another Rupture landing. Oh, he's silenced, so I guess he can't do anything. There we go. Gotta love an archaic kit from this Cho'Gath to make Faker's life a living hell. We've got an equalizer come down here as Doran is going to be in a lot of trouble. There's the snare. Charm going to connect as well. Zeka not going to be able to finish this kill off. There wasn't an arm guard or anything like that on Doran, but after the flash, they do just get themselves out of there. And now Shelly going to get driven into... Never mind, not this turret. Let's see how the drifting's going to go.
Doran is like, whew, glad I'm backing right now.
Got another Tempered Fate there, carry out. We might need it in the bottom lane. As there is the charge, and the turret is going to go down.
Might need it for Guma's W's coming through.
Okay, Painter looking for Guma. And the fear, not going to quite work there because there is a cleanse on Gumayushi, and he gets himself out scot-free. Well, by scot-free, I mean with both summoners now down. And he comes back and takes the turret down. Kanavi, are you kidding? That's not how this one's supposed to go. Azais looking to find Faker again, but there's the gravity field. Pretty hard to get off it if you are the Cho'Gath.
They're going to try to kill him.
Well, he's going to teleport and just gets himself out of the way.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. Once the gravity field is down, there's no way to stop this guy from just getting out. So he's going to put some pressure on this turret at the same time on the bottom side. And T1 not having any control over this map, having a really tough game here. Macro-wise, Hanwha Life are just putting them in on the back foot. They really just don't have any agency. They haven't all game long. And now Doran is also going to get caught up here with this wave too far up. I think he's going to get caught. Oh, is he the luckiest player of all time? Luckiest player of all time.
There we go. And he's just going to get out of there. Beautifully done.
But that's not even good news necessarily.
Hey, but it's not bad news.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, that's a fair point.
Neutral news is better than bad news.
That's definitely true.
I could have said news, couldn't I? Because it's not news. That's not a word. I don't think that's real. Never mind. I'm Australian. Okay, Charm going to last hit.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
If anyone was wondering why he talks that way.
And honestly, I might be sounding a little bit more Australian because my parents are visiting at the moment, and so I've been chatting to my dad a lot. And so I might just be getting a bit more Australian.
He's pulling the Vegemite out in the break.
Yeah,
sure.
see, the Vegemite excuse comes through. I'm sorry, it's all the Tim Tams. Can't help it. Okay. Zeka and Doran doing battle here towards the top side. 3.4k the advantage for HLE. They've got Soul Point, and the next Drake is up in about a minute and a half. The Baron has just spawned about 30 seconds ago, so a chance for T1 to do one of those cheeky Baron takes. But I just really don't think that they can risk giving away the soul to HLE as Gumayushi hits the 2-item spike right when they need him to as well.
I mean, it's hard to make the right choices, T1, in this game. You know, what is the correct move? Like, who do you try to Nocturne ult? From this far behind, there isn't a great target. Arm Guard is here for Zeka.
Yeah, 2 items and the Arm Guard. Feels like 3, to be honest.
And if you ult Guma, you're ulting so deep that it's not going to work. There's going to be follow-up.
Yeah, it does have to take the magical journey out.
The map control, I don't think, could be better here for HLE. It has been so oppressive all game long. T1 just don't have angles. Okay, maybe this one angle and a support? No.
Oh no, the Inspire. Just going to get him out of the way. Doesn't even take damage from the Death Rays. Look at this! Zeus is so frightening! Not even on the gravity well this time around, but he does get feared by Painter. The problem is, with Faker moving away, they're not going to have damage for him. Zeka teleports in to protect his top laner.
This is his job in this game, is to just kind of be a big, scary guy and be relatively close to T1. And so
a
T1 can't
looming
actually,
threat.
The other targets that T1 can kill, they can't get access to because this annoying Cho'Gath is right in everybody's faces.
And you cannot face check HLE. If they are grouped as 5, like a person will die no matter who you are. And I feel like T1, they need their ducks in a row. They need everyone there and to land their combos if they're going to win.
Everybody has burst, including the Cho'Gath, who's super tanky.
And especially including Gumayusi, who just hit them with a True Shot Barrage to do half the health bars of a couple of people. Now, HLE have started up this Drake. T1, they know that they have to fight for this one. HLE going to hold them in position. The Rupture goes wide, but Faker is so incredibly low. Look at the health bar on this Cho'Gath! How do you get through him? He's got 6 stacks of Feast!
Yeah, the paranoia is up, but Zeus is coming towards the bad guys. He doesn't care if it's dark.
And now he has a Chemtech Soul as well, Wolf!
Yeah, no, I think this one is just all over but the Cryon at this point. It's only a 3,000 gold lead. Like, it's only a 3,000 goal lead. It's just a compositional problem here for T1. They don't have map control. They can't play the game when they're behind and they can't see the enemies. Like, that's the first paranoia we've seen in a really long time. And it just didn't do anything. At least it's on a relatively short cooldown. Maybe we could do something again.
Yeah, but he's a little bit lacking when it comes to the stacks.
The targets also that he's trying to ult aren't changing either next time he presses this. Faker! Oh my god!
And we've seen this one before. Faker is running in the wrong direction because he knows there was no way out of this. He's going to die on his own terms, and I respect it. Kanavi, though, moves up to 2-1-5 on this Nefiri. And HLE just kind of feels like they can do no wrong right now.
HLE. Okay, they're doubling down on this.
Hang on, this might be wrong. This might be doing a wrong. Although it's going to take a while to kill him.
Can you hurt him?
He kind of yells at Painter here momentarily as the teleport does bring them in. Base is just going to die, though, as Kanavi. He goes untargetable. That is going to be the ulti down, and they might be able to kill this doggo. The paranoia comes in. Painter will take him out, but now it's Gumayusi against Carrier and Doran, and Zeka is moving up to join. Kind of misses everything, but Carrier is still likely to die as he does take the magical journey out. True Shot Barrage finishes off Gumayushi's old partner, and Doran, he's gonna do it again. Never mind. He's not going to trust it this time around, and he is just going to flash his way towards the jungle and maybe escape.
Wasting their time,
Question mark?
so they can't maybe get this Baron when FaZe respawns. All right, so success. He actually is able to escape as well, which is kind of crazy. T1, not enjoying their time on the Rift here, but they almost turned that into a winning play, right? So initially, I'm watching this going, okay, well, Faker is surely dead. There's no way out of this. There's no salvaging this play. But his teammates are also coming up, right? So, yes, he dies here, but they want to make this longer play happen with FaZe. Watch what Zeus does in his dying moments here, as it takes a really long time and an extra teleport from Doran, and like a dying moment is actually quite long. But he flashes onto FaZe.
Oh yeah, the flash feast.
He flash feasts him, and without FaZe's damage, the rest of this fight is just too hard to actually finish. The next paranoia from Painter is to trade his life for the Nefiri, but once Guma is here and there's no FaZe, it's a wash. And then Zeka, it's over. But that flash feast was fight defining because he bought so much time and then killed the AD carry.
Yeah, I think Zeka did like 10 damage. Carrier there. Didn't actually matter ultimately in the end as Carrier is going to get interrupted. Magical Journey does come on through, but the ulti will follow him. Good Cosmic Binding, but Carrier is still very dead. Paranoia into the bottom lane. Let's see what they can get done here as the Rupture comes on through, but it's spell shielded. Gravity Field comes down. This is taking 400 years. And Zeus, let's see what you can do. Misses that Rupture. Why is this taking so long? As he takes down Painter, and he's still alive. What the heck was that? That was very silly. Zeka going to try and defend this turret. It's going to take a little bit of defense. And the Baron is the trade.
I know that we use the term weak side to define this type of setup, but I don't know if weak really covers it in this case, as his TP was interrupted on that extended kill, but he trades one back onto the enemy jungler.
Invincible side. Let's call it invincible side.
I like that. As Keria here is just, let's just say a bit too far forward. Thinks he's in his own jungle, but there is no T1 jungle on the top side of the map. And on the weak side, please don't make me watch it again.
The jungler also shows himself down here.
The fear comes through.
Look at them hitting him so much. So much. Painter even gets the attack speed buff from the spell shield. And just gets Vorpally spiked.
It's funny because he probably could have just walked away, but he didn't. Okay, this is an hold on to a prio target.
There we go. Gumayusi gonna arcane shift and die. There he goes.
I need a lot more information about how that all went down, as Delight here is going to avoid the ult from Keria.
Zeka diving in. Kanavi goes untargetable for a few moments. The equalizer is down, and Zeus is massive, but they need to keep Kanavi alive, and he is going to stay alive and pick up so many kills. It's a double as he takes down Keria. Paze will be able to at least get rid of the doggo, but they haven't even begun to deal with Zeus' massive health bar, and Zeka executes Faker off to the side. Chemtech Soul, I imagine, played a bit of a part in that last fight.
Absolutely. It played a huge part in that long extended play on the Zeus as well. It's just so hard to kill these targets. And
330 stacks, hot steel.
Yeah, I don't think this game, like this fight was the last chance back in the game here for T1, right? They deleted the 80 carry and still couldn't win the fight. Rumble comes in. They have all the tools. By the way, HLE are split. And yet this charm here from Zeka ends up being pretty huge. He also has that arm guard from earlier to use to stay alive here. Gets back over the wall to kite through. And Faker barely survives, but he can't rejoin his teammates. Paige just gets eaten again. And Faker wants to go for the outplay here, actually.
Yeah, I think he just knew that Zeus would be able to get on top of him. I respect it from Faker, but unfortunately it's not game winning. And Endless Hug to be completed by Gumayusi. Look at all of these Magi stacks for Zeka. That Forbidden Book is almost ready for publish. And he's going to look to dive on top of Carrier and Doran. Just kind of misses a bunch of buttons there, but they do navigate their way out. Kanavi finding some Darkened Daggers onto Doran. It's a bit of an alliteration, but he also might be a little bit dead. Untargetable goes the doggo as the Arcane Storm is down. Painter gets into the backline, but everyone just scatters immediately. The Arcane Storm is decent, but Zeus just flash eats him. Down goes the Rumble. Delicious, says the Cho'Gath. He might die for it, but it looked pretty cool while he did it. Kanavi also killed the Nocturne, and it's a one trade here for HLE.
The health bars are low.
Okay, Kanavi, I don't know about this one, as Paze does have a lot of DPS, and down will go the dog. And there is the Tempered Fate onto Gumayusi. Not able to land that Mystic Shot as these health bars are not infinite, but Gumayusi, the Arcane Shift. It's so clean, but the minion wave comes on forward.
It's just so risky to actually keep pushing here as HLE. Kanavi. Their health bars were super low, and they are in such a strong position in this game. They don't need to force. And I was just giving Kanavi credit for like the pivot after what happened in game one about how slowly he's played this third game. This part is fine. This part is fine.
I can imagine that
Kanavi also, I mean, look, he's Cho'Gath. He's like, I'm just going to walk at 4 people, and they won't be able to do anything. There are a lot of damage dealers there that you're walking at, and a turret.
All right, Faker just trying to farm this mid lane, but he does get a bunch of buttons down, but he is still just going to die. A little bit too far up as there's the teleport in. 4 versus 5, Elder Dragon. Already had been started here by T1. Look at Zeus' health bar. We don't have enough resolution for it.
Yeah, you can't see it.
Yeah, it's gotten to the point where it kind of looks like he's a minion because like the little lines weren't possible to be seen. Okay, that was ridiculous.
I've never seen that before.
No, neither have I. He has really gone even further beyond.
They have, by the way, Feast and Smite. Good luck.
The Paranoia comes down. They're going to turn the lights off. As T1, they look to engage. There is the Tempered Fate. They try to lock them down. It's stolen by Paze. Somehow he pulls a Gumayusi. But can they actually win the fight? That's the question. Paze gets the cleanse out. Kanavi is going to be taken down. But I don't think you're ever getting to this Cho'Gath execute threshold. Oh no! Doran is going to survive, and Faker had respawned, but he doesn't get the Elder buff.
Now, they couldn't kill the Cho'Gath, but I don't know if HLE can end the game right now. I mean, this is a really huge Cho'Gath, but that's a lot of damage with the Elder buff still applying here onto Zeus.
I kind of want Zeus to not get any more kills or deaths or assists.
The equalizer,
because if he dies as a big airplane, I'm going to be so happy.
The equalizer is going to be pretty tough to actually fight through as well here as Doran gets it back up here in 3 seconds. Pings on the Baron for T1. They know that's the next port of call for this game. They still have to deal with that bottom wave, as we're going to go all the way back to this one for some reason. This is what happens right before the Elder. The reason why they're able to get the steal is because the Tempered Fate goes onto the Cho'Gath.
Oh my goodness.
Pulls a Guma into Guma. And then look at how well he kites this out. He saves the game here literally.
Yeah.
Almost gets Delight as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. The fact that he aims it actually with Delight in mind is insane. And almost also gets the Ari. T1 fans not ready to celebrate just yet, but the Baron has respawned.
I mean, this is, it's a really tough spot for T1 still, but suddenly a playable game because they can use this Elder on their defense of their Baron take. Keria has his ult back up. This is really scary here for HLE fans with so much control until this moment.
All right, they're engaging onto the Cho'Gath, seeing whether they can take down Zeus. Painter dives in, but they barely get his health bar down. Now Zeka dashing forward. Tempered Fate is going to lock down Kanavi for a moment in space. Great sidestep on that Rupture. And Doran just trying to spread the damage around as much as possible. 20 seconds left on that Elder.
Zeus doesn't have TP, so he can't just, back and go in. He's going to have to heal up here and then head back in. He is going to get his health back pretty quickly.
The base is in trouble, though. That inhibitor being down on the bottom lane.
They have to defend.
Puts a timer on.
And HLE are going to be able to get this Baron. T1 went for the gamble, trying to burst down the Cho'Gath, or at least force them out of the fight so they can win the longer fight. But HLE played it slow. They went out. Let's see if they can steal again.
Yeah, and they do have Feast Smite. Like you said, the Rupture comes on through. Will they get it? Yes, they will. There we go. Nailed it. Second attempt is going to work out. So, Baron secured here by HLE, and T1 forced onto the back foot, desperately trying to defend. 33 minutes into the game, close to 34. It's a 5.5k gold advantage. That is not, game ending, right?
But with Baron buff and this incredibly difficult to kill Cho'Gath,
and a 25 stack Magi's Ari.
600 Heartsteel stacks, or 556.
That's
a lot.
That's some ARAM stats right there. Is okay. In goes Painter once again. There goes Painter once again. And Pace is almost just dead as well. Oh God, Zeus is breaking the game again with this ludicrous health bar as he teleports in. The Vorpal spikes as well, doing a lot of work. Faker just going to get pushed out of his own base. Zeus will actually be taken up. The Rupture is massive before he dies. And now Gumayushi is dashing forward. The GA comes on through. It is a great cosmic binding there onto Kanavi, but he is still able to help lock down the kill onto Keria. Doran trying to sidestep. It doesn't work. Guma goes to 7-1 and 6. And these Nexus turrets will be taken out. Humble Life Esports will finally get on the board here in this round robin. You can see they're pretty psyched about it.
Pretty sick draft here for HLE in this final game. And they are able to pull it off in the end, despite the crazy series that went up and down. Pretty controlled in game 2. They shut Faker out. And in game 3, they were able to win the late game through this Cho'Gath. But I got to pick POM somehow.
Yeah, what the heck are you supposed to do? Let's go back in time.
I'm kind of between mid and top, right? Because you had the great Zeka game into the lock on the Orianna, great Ari game, and then in game 3 you had the Cho'Gath, which defined the win.
Yeah, maybe it's the Ambessa. And the
I think I'm going to go Zeus on this one. I think the champion cooking definitely does him a few favors. You could go Kanavi. I think you could go for Zeka, but
I think you could also go for Guma. Getting a win on the Ezreal here as well is not something that I was really looking at as far as my bingo card was concerned. There's a few angles, and honestly, when HLE make it difficult for you to vote for POM, that's when you know that they're a team that's performing well.
Yeah, it was a Really interesting series. I think T1.
Yeah.
You'll love to see a ceremony like that. There's a big Delight fan group here, and or maybe family. I'm not sure, but yes, it is family.
That's an extended family there.
I think this series came a lot down to who knew how to play their draft better. And in game one, T1 had such a fiery start. They had so much stuff, like Painter and Faker working in tandem, the trade of positioning, all of that stuff that happened there. Playing through Doran worked really well on the Olaf. But then in game two, they couldn't get their lock off the ground, right? Like, you know, HLE were able to shut that down, play a controlled game, wait for their moment. And then in game three, the Cho'Gath, I think, really just caught T1 off guard, and they weren't sure how to play around it. And there were a few errors made in the early game as well.
Yeah, I think that dragon fight really put them on the wrong foot.
I think no one could say Paze did not have an amazing
Oh, yes.
but it just isn't enough alone sometimes as the AD carry to be the best performer in a game like this.
Zeka, this was very funny. Just flying forward to miss a bunch of buttons and then doesn't really elaborate.
I'm covering his retreat pass.
Oh, it's perfect. This was stupid. Zeus' Cho'Gath just getting way too large. I don't know what it is with Zeus and just picking random tanks that aren't really in the meta and then just making them look utterly broken.
It's been a thing that's been going on for a while, and I think I'm here for it, to be honest.
Oh yeah, me too.
The Anivia game was kind of hanging over my head before I put the vote in, because it wasn't a great one, right? Got solo killed. It was pretty weird. The game wasn't a game, but I think we can look past it because games 2 and 3.
It must have been the Peanut secret stuff.
Yeah!
He must have come into the coach's booth and he was like, you know what, guys, you're better than this. And you know how I know that? Because I can give you this bottle of Peanut secret stuff, and he's going to be able to make you even better. And as it turns out, it's just water, but all they needed
Actually, I heard it's just peanut butter.
Even better. Oh, God. It's the fact that Zeus is kind of breaking the spectator client with his health bar is just so funny. But then the fact that T1 even get through the health bar.
Yeah, it's crazy that T1 are able to kill him.
Yeah, Leandre's is one heck of an item, I guess.
HLE are pushing through 2 inhibitor turrets to try to make this happen. They are able to successfully do it, but you can feel the stress and the urgency in the comms here for HLE. They're starting to get worried that that Elder secure might have cost them big, but they are able to clean it up in the end and take the series 2-1. I think I have gotten one prediction right this week so far.
Oh no! Which one was it? Was it DNS not winning?
Yes, that was the one, yeah.
Wow.
So
well, at least you got that
basically
one.
I've gotten 0 actual predictions right.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do you like that. Oh no. No, well, I mean,
but look, DNS is playing the second series. I might get 2.
There you go. Oh. Beautiful. Although now they've been unshackled. There is nothing to lose at this point, and so perhaps it's going to be a bit of a disaster. It is Zeus picking up player of the match. Game number 1, we do not want to really think about, but games 2 and 3, I mean, he was the main character. The Ambassador getting that solo kill at the beginning, and then he played Cho'Gath, and he was impossible to take down, and it was kind of ridiculous.
Up they go. As
they go.
Say,
I don't
they are.
Did he play that skin?
No. But it's
no, he didn't. He played the drop the beat one.
Both HLE and T1 are 16 and 6, but because of game score, T1 are still 1 game ahead. If I'm calculating this right, doing math on stream, at 21 to 19, actually 2 games ahead. It was very close.
Yep.
But still a huge win here for HLE in a rivalry matchup and such a big bounce back after the disaster that was game 1. Very impressive stuff.
Really impressive stuff, and now it is time to hear from Zeus, so let's throw it over to Dia for the translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dia for the POM interview translation, joined by Zeus on the side of Hana Live Esports, who just defeated T1. Finally, you just put an end to your losing streak. Taking that valuable first win, how do you feel? I'm just really happy that we were able to win, first of all. And all of our match history was basically loss, win, loss. And after losing game 1, I was a little nervous, but everyone on my team did so well, and I'm so glad that we were able to pick up today's victory. As you've said, in round 3, HLE has always gone the full distance so far, so it looked quite exhausting.
극복해야겠다 생각하셨는지 궁금합니다.
What was something that you worked on to cut that losing streak short?
잘 경기력 안 나오면서 점점 더
I think
자신감들이
it's
많이
just
떨어졌던
that
것 같아가지고 좀 그런 것들을
with
잘
those
끌어올리려고
losses
노력했고
racking up, I
그때도
felt
원래
like
또
our
잘할 때 워낙
confidence
잘하던
was
선수들이기
going
때문에
down.
좀 좋은
Just
폼
really
찾기
wanted
위해서
to
노력
make
많이
sure
했던 것
that we
지금은
can
어느
actually
정도
get our
극복이
confidence
된
back up.
거군요.
And
사실
I know
오늘
that
경기
we all had
졌으면은
faith in each other
좀
because we're all
빡셌을
really
것
talented
같은데
players. So
이겨가지고
I think
좀
we just really put in a lot of
많이
effort
부활할 수 있지
to
않나
네.
recover
네,
the
다행입니다. 다시
form.
한번 축하드리고요.
So, does it feel like you are back to 100%? Honestly, if we had lost today, it would have been really difficult. But I'm really glad. And so, we saw the Anivia against the enemy's Olaf, which went south in the end. It was an unfortunate loss, but what was the feedback after?
말리는 것도 있는 것 같고 영향이 사실 그리고
I think it's just the way the matchup plays out. I feel like what happened was that I ended up outplaying myself, and at level 6, when I lost my egg, it was quite painful.
빡세더라고요.
Yeah, and Camille had such a huge part in that. Yeah, honestly, it was so difficult against the Camille. And in game 2, the Ambessa Ori wombo combo was incredible, so let's take a look at this replay. What was going through your mind here? I was using the Ambessa ult in the front, and I was just praying, please hit, and that's how I engaged. And we actually didn't discuss, chain ulting with the Ori, but I think it was just that we ended up being really in sync in that moment. Yeah, it was such a chaotic moment where it's not easy to hit that Ambessa ult. Yeah, honestly, after that Ambessa ult nerf, it's almost as if you just have to make sure that you communicate, hey, I'm gonna go ult, and then hope that the enemy is willing to get hit by my ult. But, it was just so chaotic, like you said. So I think it's just that you have to find the really good window to go in. And in game 3, we saw you last pick the Cho'Gath. So was that a prepared and planned pick? I mean, that Cho'Gath pick, my team has a Cho'Gath expert. We have a Cho'Gath one trick, so I think we were able to sort of pick up that Cho'Gath has a really decent laning phase and has high value, so it actually was a great opportunity to pull him out. So, how do you usually choose the theme of your draft in the team? I mean, I think the first thing that comes to my mind is like, when we picked Shyvana, and whenever you do use Shyvana is a really good champion on its own. But whenever we are put in a situation where we're a little behind, that's when it's really hard to sort of recover from that. So I think just having a good understanding of all the champions and how they are supposed to be played, that's just something that we try to keep in mind. But obviously there are some moments that we have to try to recover from an emergency situation. And we have to talk about your champion pool. It looks like you have played 20 unique champions so far. So what is your secret to being able to be so proficient in so many different champions? I think it was just a lot of the secret surprise picks that we were trying to think of, like the Swain pick and the Mundo pick. I think it's just something that can actually be a Joker pick that can work to break through the enemy. So that's just something that we also keep in mind oftentimes. And now that you secured your first win of round 3, you'll be playing Genji next. So what is your mindset? Yeah, as long as we're able to secure wins for the rest of the round, as far as I know, I think we actually have a chance for getting first place. So I just want to make sure that we can keep this momentum up and secure first place in the end. And that is all from Zeus, and back to the desk. Thank you.